Welcome. Cowboy fans, Cowboy hitters alike, I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Let's talk facts. What's going on, Andre? God bless you too. What's going on, Jared? Lord, what's going on? As people come in, you know, it's funny. I want to kind of get started kind of talking about this, a little bit about the Giants game, and I'm going to be talking about it throughout. But one of the things I want to mention about the Cowboys, sometimes you have to be careful, because when you're trying to fight against madness, sometimes you'll forget to highlight certain things about the game or the team and stuff like that. Well, the one person that I want to really talk about just for a moment, I was a little bit perturbed when they gave Micah Parsons the John Madden player or a player award, or what? Let me look this up. I was looking at it earlier, but they gave Micah Parsons the Thanksgiving award, and it's something to do with John Madden. And I was very perturbed, because I'm sorry, but I don't believe he deserved it. I don't believe he deserved that award. And people have been, I'm starting to realize, the older I get, the old moniker of winning cures all. We were just talking about Micah Parsons' distractions, Micah Parsons' podcast, things he said about Mike McCarthy, things that he didn't say about Dak Prescott. I mean, we were talking about so many things. And all of a sudden, the Cowboys win. And I want y'all to understand, I went back and forth with a few people on X about this. And the thing about people that I'm learning is that people do not want to deal in truth, especially when they like someone. I actually had someone tell me today that box scores are useless. And I'm like, how do you say that a box score is useless, as in the box score doesn't tell you the game? And, he was saying, as it pertained to Micah Parsons, well, it doesn't tell you the game. It doesn't tell you how many times he was double teamed. It doesn't tell you all, okay. But that's not the part. While we can go into that deep type of analysis, but even the deep type of analysis, like I explained to him, the deep analysis, the box score, and what we are watching with our eyes as far as the tape goes, all three of those must match up, and all three of them tell the same story. They're all telling the same story. The box score, the tape, and the deep analytics, they're all telling the same story. But when someone says the box score doesn't tell the story, no. In actuality, what they're saying is they don't like the story that the box score is showing. And that's why people, when you start talking about Micah Parsons, for example, people don't want you to use the box scores. And the reason why they don't want you to use the box scores when it comes to Micah Parsons in particular, I'm going to show you why. Because when you look at the box score, this is what it looks like on Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons won the Thanksgiving Day Award with 3 tackles and 1.5 sacks. 3 tackles, One, and I was reading this wrong at first. I didn't realize this until I looked on NFL.com. So when you get the 1 and the 2, that's the solo and the 2 assisted. So I thought that one of the some of the assisted stuff, I thought they counted it in with the. I thought they counted the solo with the assisted in a sense, but no, this is actually 3 tackles. So let's say it's 3 tackles because that's what it is. 3 tackles, 1.5 sacks. And I debate the half sack because I think it was Malik Hooker who ran through, tripped up Drew Lock. Drew Lock is literally falling to the ground. He's literally falling to the ground. And Micah Parsons jumped on Drew Lock right before he hit the ground. And they gave him a half sack. And Micah Parsons make no mistake about it. Micah Parsons helps you on the field. Micah Parsons is fantastic on the field. He's a great football player. But Micah Parsons could be an elite. And this is what I was explaining to the person online, but they don't want to hear this stuff. But Micah Parsons is out of position. And the reason why I know he's out of position because they say he gets double teamed the most. Well, guys like Bosa, I just wonder, but Bosa is able to beat some of those double teams. He's not faster than Micah Parsons. He's bigger than Micah Parsons. He's bigger and I dare say probably a little bit stronger depending upon what you're talking about. But Micah Parsons, he gets double teamed. You want to know why they double team him? Because you can stop him with a double team. When you get guys like Myles Garrett is so big and strong that you may actually have to triple team a guy like Myles Garrett. Triple team a guy like Bosa. You can take Micah Parsons out with double teams. He's undersized as a defensive end. If people can't see that, I don't know what else to tell them. And people are talking and saying things like Micah Parsons is the leader of this defense. How can Micah Parsons be the leader of this defense? 1, he was out, injured. 2, the defense was already improving before Micah Parsons. Now, don't get it twisted. No, he helps them being on the field. He helps them being on the field, and he definitely helps them when you get in passing situations, especially long yardage passing situations. Or if they get a lead. And my issue with Micah Parsons, I showed his stats from 2023 because people say, oh, he was hurt. This has been the indictment on Micah Parsons, and people don't want to hear it. Micah Parsons disappears down the stretch. He disappears down the stretch, especially when you start playing the better teams. And you will notice when they play the better teams, Micah Parsons is almost non-existent. And he's non-existent because they say, well, he disappears because he double teamed. They double team him. No. It's not just because they double team him, because him, Myles Garrett, Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, Watt, others, they get double teamed. Even though, why do you think he's getting it done more to him? Because 1, he's fast. Micah's fast. Micah mess around, get around the edge, fake you out, get you in, it's over. You don't want to let him get a step on you. But number 2, because you can stop him with the double teams. You can stop him with the double teams. And it corresponds with, if you look at the big games, and this is why I say I give Bosa so much credit. I'm not saying he's better than Micah Parsons. No, Nick Bosa is in the correct position. Micah Parsons is a freak athlete in the wrong position. We can't talk about Micah Parsons in the conversation with Lawrence Taylor because Lawrence Taylor was a linebacker. He wasn't a linebacker trying to play D end. He was a linebacker, and they used him wherever they wanted him. See, people do not understand how much more Micah Parsons would be dangerous from the linebacker position. I think Mike Zimmer knows it. But we also know that this has something to do with the money game. The linebackers don't get paid like the D ends. And Micah wants that D end money. Micah is a freak athlete. There is no doubt. But Micah is out of position. And that's the reason why he disappears in these bigger games. Because they have the personnel that can stop Micah Parsons and they nullify him. I mean, we might not realize it, but guess what? There's a reason why the 49ers have been so successful. It's not just their quarterback. It's not just Mike Shanahan. It's not just their running game. Nick Bosa has wreaked havoc in the big games, in the playoffs, and even in the Super Bowl. We've seen Nick Bosa on every stage. And Bosa is helping that team win on every stage. And the problem with Micah Parsons, we take Micah Parsons out of position to help us in the big games because we line him up. We just line him up at the end. That's all we do. We just line him up at the end. And we say, Micah, go get the quarterback. Well, Micah's not going to get the quarterback when you got him against these bigger tackles, these double teams and all the things they're doing to him. He's not going to do it because he's not that kind of guy that's so big that he can break through a double team. No, you double team and you nullify him. And that's the facts. That's not a knock on Micah Parsons. He's an undersized defensive end. And double teaming him nullifies him so easy. It nullifies him so easy. And he's got a really good win rate. You know, I was looking at Pro Football Focus today, and they were talking about some of that stuff, the win rates and stuff like that. But just imagine if you put him at linebacker. What's been the knock on the Dallas Cowboys for the last 2 seasons? What's been the knock? They can't get to the quarterback or they can't stop the run. There's a reason why. It's not that Micah Parsons can't tackle. It's not the fact that he can't tackle. The reason why he only has 3 tackles. He's running so hard at the quarterback. They can either run by him. They can run around him. Sometimes they're running right at him. It's not that he's not a good tackler. He's out of position to tackle. He's out of position. And I just couldn't dedicate, as good as Micah Parsons is, I could not dedicate him just to playing defensive end. They gave the full sack to Donovan Wilson. Okay, when was the 0.5? Because someone else was saying the same thing, so maybe we're mistaken. The 0.5 came to when it was Mozzie got the sack. Because from what my understanding is, it's the one where Hooker tripped him up. But either way, okay, we can give him the 1.5 sack. But Micah Parsons could contribute in so many more ways if the Cowboys would put him at linebacker. He could still rush the quarterback. He could still get sacks. He would be just that much more versatile at the linebacker position. Jay Army, what's going on? He said, I wish Zeke was still good like prime Zeke. Yeah, we all do. Zeke mixed with Dowells, we would be unstoppable. Oh, yeah, with Dowell unstoppable on the run. But I don't know. I love Zeke, and I wish we were still in his prime. He was good. Yeah, Zeke is a relic now. But I say this, Jay Army. I'm gonna talk about this a little bit later too, as all this talk about Mike McCarthy. You have to understand something about Mike McCarthy, bro. Mike McCarthy did not want Ezekiel Elliott. He did not want Ezekiel Elliott. And I have been one who has been screaming all season long, Rico Dowdle should be the starter, run him 25 times a game. And, I've been saying all of these things about Rico. He's a really good running back. I think he's going to be a very good number 2. They need to go in that draft and get them a top flight, though. They need to get a top flight running back that he's a home run hitter. You put him and Rico, you put Rico with a home run hitter, Cowboys, Dak Prescott, they'll eat off of play action. They'll be that good. But the problem I have with Mike McCarthy, and I keep saying this about Mike McCarthy, he doesn't control the part he can control, and that's the play calling. I mean, it's strange to me now that Dak Prescott is hurt. Now he really wants to get Kevontae Turpin involved. Why didn't you do that with Dak? Number 2, Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke is not a run between the tackles running back anymore. But where they should be using Zeke is in red zone, short yardage, 1 to 2 yards. Number 2, and Zeke did have a fumble, so I don't know where how much Zeke is diminishing, but he had a very bad fumble against the Eagles. But I would be using Zeke in the passing game. That's what I would be trying to use Zeke. I think that when you get players and you are using a roster spot on this man, you have to figure out ways to use him. Find a way to use him. Find a way to use him. And so this is all this stuff that Mike has been doing. Only Cowboy YouTubers say Mike is a linebacker. No, I don't know. No, I don't know. There are other people who have said the same thing. This is also coming from other pundits. Yes, Micah, as long as the Cowboys use him at DN, I'm telling you, he's going to continue to fall short in the biggest games. Because a lot of people talk about, okay, Dak Prescott, I mean, how many good teams has he beaten? But do we ever look at the fact that how does the defense look in those games also? How does Micah Parsons? Because if we're saying he's the quarterback, which he shouldn't be called the quarterback of the defense because that's the middle linebacker. We already explained this. He's double teamed, but you have to understand. But when you talk about him being double teamed, a lot of that is because of his speed. He's a very strong kid too, but it's his speed. But this is also a reason when they go up against better competition. I keep hearing people spew all of these same things about all this double team. But you got to understand the stats. We're spouting stats, but we're not saying what they mean. He's being double teamed. Yes, he is. But he's also being stopped when they play the better teams. Notice what Micah Parsons does. And I'll show you, because some people don't want to dig in. Oh, let's dig into all the analytics. I've already dug into the analytics. It's amazing how Micah Parsons looks against the terrible teams. We say this about Dak, but we won't say it about Micah. But people have been saying it about Micah. They were saying it last year down the stretch. People were saying it. When Micah gets against the better teams, it's almost like he's nullified. And I know why he's nullified. Micah gets a lot of his stats on sometimes these sorry teams. He just does. He gets a lot of these stats on these sorry teams. And everyone should eat on sorry teams. They should. They should eat on sorry teams. But when you play the better teams, what are your signature games? What are the signature games? What is the game that comes to our mind that we say, big game, not these little games, big game, playoff game? Micah Parsons took the game over. Micah Parsons took the game over. We haven't got to that point yet. And I think the Cowboys are going to have to figure out something because, I mean, they can keep doing it all they want to. He's a very talented, elite athlete. But We can talk about all the double teams and stuff we want to. But Micah Parsons is not the best defensive end in football, and that's the facts. He's not. I know we want to say that, but he's not. And even the stats show it. And even when you dig into the deep analytics, Pro Football Focus doesn't rate him as the best defensive end. It doesn't. And while he is, quote unquote, he is top 3, but let's dig a little deeper. Bosa is the top DN in this game. And we see Bosa, big games. We watch Bosa eat year after year. Year after year in the playoffs, we watch Bosa eat on good teams. Bosa be feasting on teams. They double team Bosa, you name it. Anything they're doing to Micah, they're doing it to Bosa. They're doing it to Bosa. Bosa is eating in big games. He is. How do we know? Because he's been in them. He's been in them. And he's been some of the reason why they are beating these teams. He's terrorizing quarterbacks. You see him involved in the run. You see Bosa doing a lot of those things. Micah is absolutely great. But the issue with the issue with Micah, you can be undersized against teams like the Giants. But when you get to the good teams, they got tackles that can handle you. That's why they're where they are. They got a tackle that can handle you. I mean, we might not realize it, but if we look back at the Giants game, some of the things they were doing to Micah Parsons, and I remember the film vividly, they were handling up on Micah Parsons. One man. And that's why I was saying, even in the discussion, that people don't understand, yeah, he gets double teamed, but he's not getting double teamed every single play. Sometimes they are handling up on him with one guy, depending upon who that guy may be. And so Andre says on Monday night when DeMarcus Lawrence comes back, do you move Micah Parsons to linebacker? They're probably going to keep him at end. I bet they're still going to do it, but I would. I just think Micah Parsons would be that much more dangerous as a linebacker. That much more dangerous. Micah Parsons is also smaller, too, than those other true DNs, so it's easy to physically. That's what I keep saying. There's a reason why you're going to double team him, because you can take him out of games easy. You can. And that's why if you look at the big games, there's a reason. See, we keep putting this all on Dak. This fan base to me is so toxic. It is so toxic because it blames one man for all its woes. But then when it comes to Micah Parsons, when they're losing, they are saying things about what he's saying. Then the moment we start winning, all of a sudden they're talking about Micah Parsons this and Micah Parsons that. It's crazy. Jay Recruiter said, I used to think Micah was the best defensive player in the NFL. He's in the top 5, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, he's that good. But just imagine if he was in the right position. And Andre is hitting on a point. He can't stop the run. Because they got him in position to where he can't even help on the run. How do you have a player that good, that fast, that good, you know he's undersized, and you won't use him at linebacker? Why? Why? We have to win out. If we do, we'll get disingenuous praise from just looking to throw shade at Dak. Well, they're already doing that. Terry Bradshaw, someone was talking about this the other day. I think it was talking about on the live. I mean, Terry Bradshaw is so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Terry Bradshaw, shame on you. Talking about when Dak Prescott is healthy. Cooper Rush should still remain a starter. This is stupid talk, man. This is absolutely stupid talk. This team couldn't last. This team couldn't win 9 games in a season with Cooper Rush. This team couldn't win 9 games in a season. Jerry said the Bosco argument is the same argument that people always use to say Dak Prescott is an overrated stat pattern. Yep. I'm still a big advocate for Tennessee running back Sampson. He's fast and physical, and he's in the playoffs right now. Should the Cowboys hope Genty falls to us, I won't say it. Let me tell you something, Jay Army. I'm going to be honest with you. One, let's get the Genty talk out of our mind. Genty is not going to the Dallas Cowboys. No way, no how. We've already messed that up winning 5 games. And I do believe the Cowboys, we're going to talk about this later on in the stream. I think the Cowboys for sure will win 1 more game. The Genty talk is off the table. But I don't think the Cowboys need Genty. I mean, it'd be great to have Genty. I mean, come on, man. I mean, the way he's running, it'd be great to have Genty. But let's be in reality. Cowboys not going to get Genty. Somebody before the Cowboys will get Genty. They're believing the hype too. And I'm not saying he's hype because he's really good. But I'm saying everyone's hearing he's a generational running back. So a lot of people are going to be wanting to get him. Man, there are at least 10 other running backs. There are at least 10 other running backs the Cowboys could get to go along with Rico Dowdle, and they would still be home run hitters. As long as you got this line fixed, they would still be great on this team. Cowboys still need to get a running back within the first 3 rounds. That ultra dude looks at a stat sheet and say 3rd in most pressure rate to the quarterback, but doesn't comment about him getting destroyed in the run. Oh, yeah, for real. For real, Lone Star. For real. And I think the problem is they don't put him in position because he's always running up the field. And so all you have to do is, okay, you're going to run up the field? Well, we know how to stop a pass rush. Run up the field, we'll just run right past you. Oh, you're gonna line up on the left? Okay, we're just gonna run to the left. I mean, what are you gonna do? Oh, you're gonna line up on the left? We're gonna run at you. We're gonna chip you because you're a smaller defensive end and you're easier to stop than a Nick Bosa, than a Myles Garrett. You know, people don't want to deal with that stuff. According to most Cowboy fans years ago, Parsons was the next LT. Yes. Let's stop that talk, Bobby Murphy. I had to go back and look at film. On LT last week, and I was like, man, I don't even know what we talking about. Now, I wasn't saying it, but when I went back and looked at film again on LT, I said, boy, what are these people talking about? Man, LT didn't just play the part. He looked the part. He was boy, I don't even know where we got that stuff from. The best spot is to be the rush outside linebacker in the 3-4 scheme, like the 3-4, the 3-4 outside linebackers. Oh, yeah. I believe at linebacker, people just don't understand. This dude, Micah Parsons, is a freak athlete. Micah Parsons would eat from the linebacker position, man. Because, watch this. We need him to play. Can he play pass coverage? Can he play pass coverage? Because he would be really good to help you in pass coverage. Holding backs out of the backfield. Holding tight ends out of the backfield. He's done some of this. He could even, on a slant route, he could hold a wide receiver. They are taking away from what he could be really doing by putting him at that D-end spot, and then you're letting him get beat up by all of these bigger linemen. And he's having to crash through. You know, he's really good with some of his schemes. But sometimes he's really getting beat up, and that's why he got hurt early in the season. Mike is getting beat up trying to run through these double teams. Got to do something. They could really help him out putting him at linebacker. The media is still lying by Patrick Mahomes this year, saying that he's finding ways to win. No, whoa. Keyword he. Yeah, that's a straight up lie. Kansas City Chiefs are finding ways to win. And in some cases, I think a lot of people, a lot of people are really saying, and I don't think it's just the Kansas City Chiefs finding ways to win. I think the NFL is finding ways for them jokers to win too. Kevin Howard, yes, I was thinking about in my mind the running back from Ohio State. The Chiefs have been a winning team as long as the other team killing themselves too a lot. Mahomes is playing poorly. Yeah, by his standards especially. By his standards. Boy, I bet he was glad to see Pacheco back. Knew it wasn't fans. It was the media that said that about Parsons. And because he played linebacker, not DN. And I'm saying all of that, we have to start telling the truth about these guys and not lying because we like or dislike the players. And that's the thing with me. I'm telling you, Micah Parsons is a freak. He is. This dude is off the chain, man. But this is why people don't want to do this. They don't want to do this. Because he don't jump off the board in box scores. They want to go into the deep analytics to say this is why he's not jumping out at you at the box scores. And then they start saying, well, you're hate. No, it's not the hate on Micah Parsons. It's the reality is he's in the wrong position because he's undersized. 2, why would you have a guy like Micah Parsons and not be utilizing him all over the field? And I'm saying all that to say this. Micah had a good game. Now, if you let the people tell it, they were acting like Micah Parsons had the game of the year. I don't understand it. I watched the game. I watched the entire game. Micah Parsons, while he was pressuring, Micah Parsons wasn't just jumping off of the screen. This who was jumping off the screen. Demarion Overshown. Demarion Overshown, y'all. Demarion Overshown had 9 tackles. 5 solo, 4 assisted, 1 and this don't even tell the story. He had a tipped ball, intercepted it himself, and ran for the touchdown. Trifecta. Demarion Overshown. I know this is going to make some people upset, but Demarion Overshown is the best player the Dallas Cowboys have on defense right now. He's the best player they have on defense right now. Demarion Overshown is different, y'all. Demarion Overshown is different. Absolutely different. And he is out here, whether people accept it or not. Demarion Overshown is doing different things. Different things. I'm laughing that Micah Parsons, based on what they, I guess they were saying that, okay, Micah Parsons, he had a good game, and so they gave him the Thanksgiving MVP, the real Madden MVP on Thanksgiving. But if you look at the box scores, which they don't want to look at, and even if you don't look at the box score, even if you dig into the analytics and look at what this dude is doing, this was Demarion Overshown. This is all he did. This is all he did right here. This is all he did. He only had 9 tackles, 5 solo, 4 assists, 1 interception, 1 TD, and the interception, okay, you want to go into the deep analytics? He tipped it to himself, intercepted it, ran it in, and guess what? That was the play that changed the game. That was the play that changed the game because it looked like the New York Giants were basically going to just play neck and neck with the Dallas Cowboys. Again, I'm telling y'all, people not understanding what I'm telling them. Again, Cooper Rush gets let off the hook because this defense, this special teams, they keep making plays that are not putting Cooper Rush in a position to where he has to do anything other than just stick with the game plan. Stick with the game plan. We're not going to throw it. We know you can't throw the ball beyond 10 yards, so we're going to keep it real simple. But at the end of the day, Cooper Rush is living on this defense. He's living on it. He's living on this defense. And what they've done the last 2 weeks is nothing short of phenomenal. This dude right here, they robbed this dude. They robbed this dude. This dude's performance was insane, and he had a fumble recovery. Demarion Overshown, his performance on Thanksgiving was incredible, and he made the play that broke the game open, and it is a doggone shame. It is a doggone shame because this is what folk do, and this is why this fan base is so toxic, and even the people who hate them are toxic. Because people lift up who they want to, and they don't recognize that guys like this. No, I don't want to hear he's just good. You know, well, yeah, nobody said he's not. No, he's not good. He's great. He's incredible. He's the best player they have on defense right now, period. In the story, there's no discussion, period. Stats, analytics, tape, everything. Demarion Overshown is, and people talking about Micah Parsons is coming to his own. He's starting to become a leader. No. This dude right here is what's changing this defense. Because people are looking at how he's performing. They're looking at how this dude is performing. Marshawn Nealon said it. Now, I want y'all to understand this. Marshawn Nealon is actually playing with Micah Parsons. Nealon said he hadn't seen anybody. He said he's hardly played with anybody like Demarion Overshown. He's an absolute monster. Oh, I'm sorry, Eric Kendricks. Demo is a great player. He's one of the best I've ever been around. Let me show you what he said, y'all. This is absolutely beautiful what he said about this dude. Look at this. He said his attitude is just pure. He loves the game. I love to see it, and it motivates me. Being in my 10th year, it motivates me to see a year two guy like him, especially what he brings to the field. This ain't hate on Micah Parsons. People don't like truth. He's the best dude on the field. This defense was already improving before Micah Parsons came back. Anybody who's been on this channel has been hearing me say it over and over and over. The other person they're not talking about enough, they should have had Mike Zimmer out there eating one of those turkey legs. They should have had Mike Zimmer out there eating one of those turkey legs. Mike Zimmer has done more with less the entire season. He didn't complain about who got hurt. He didn't complain about what he didn't have. Mike Zimmer went out there week after week and said, okay, this is what I got. This is what I have. This is what I'm working with. Let me make it work. And he's made it work. And this dude right here has been the catalyst. While Micah Parsons has been busy on his podcast, and even now, Micah Parsons is defending his podcast. They said I couldn't have a podcast and play. Micah, someone needs to tell you this, and they won't. Because we don't have the dogs on the team other than DeMarcus Lawrence, who told Micah Parsons to shut the F up. Somebody needs to tell Micah Parsons, bro, slow your roll. You had a good game today, but Demarion Overshown had a superstar day today, and they cheated that man. I'm telling you, I'm different, y'all. I'm built different. I'm sorry. I'd have gave him the award. I would have told everybody. That's just me. I would have told everybody, nah, y'all, you know what? I appreciate y'all giving me the award, but I want y'all to understand something. This man overshadowed me today. He overshadowed me today. This man, and I would say it as the leader of the defense, I would say this. No, y'all giving me all the credit. This dude right here, Demarion Overshown is the best, but he's the best defensive player on this team, and this team is riding because of him. He brings the same energy week after week. Can we say this about Micah Parsons? Can we say this about Micah Parsons? I'm not hating on him. I'm just telling you. Can we say what we've been saying about this dude every week? Every week he brings the noise. I can't remember a week this season, even in losing. I can't remember one game this season. Y'all help me out because I want to make sure I stick to the truth. I'm just telling you what I've seen. Maybe you've seen something different. I haven't seen one game this season where Demarion Overshown didn't flash on my screen and I go, wow, this guy is incredible. There hasn't been one game. Not one solitary game where I haven't said this dude is literally incredible. They robbed this dude, and it's a travesty. You can you can say Micah Parsons played a good game. You can say Micah Parsons played a great game, even though if you look at the box score, you definitely gonna have to dig into the analytics and say, oh, he got double teamed. You got to say something. Because this dude right here, this dude's incredible, man. This dude gonna be this. We keep talking about this dude is going to be. Now, this dude is a superstar, man. This dude is a superstar. Woo! Man. I'm sorry, man, but this team couldn't get any pressure or sacks until Parsons came back. They have recorded 20 sacks in the last 4 games with Micah back. Well, you don't have to be sorry, Playmaker. It's not the issue. I'm not talking about the issue of Micah Parsons and his sacks and his pressures. But it's also the blessing and the curse. Because if you don't get the sacks, what do you get? Explain it to me. If you don't get the pressures, because he's not always getting the pressures. If you don't get the sacks, if you don't get the pressures, what do you get? This is the very reason why. If you go back, and this is why guys don't want to do this. They want to keep talking about, oh, he's the most double team. He's the most pressured. Oh, the best win rate. So explain to me, why is it not in the big games? Go look at the big games. It's not the same. It's not the same. Why is he winning? Why is he winning? Why is he winning against the sorry teams? But he's not winning against the good teams. Why? When you go against better personnel, and when you go against the good teams, guess what they have? Better personnel. Michael not eating on the better personnel. He's not. He's getting a lot of those stats on these bad teams. Against these bad teams. Now, we'll say this stuff about Dak. We won't say it about Micah because we'll give Micah every excuse. We won't give Dak Prescott, oh, man, he didn't have no line. Oh, no, that ain't good enough. Oh, he ain't got no running game. Oh, man, ain't good enough. Dak got one robbery. Oh, that ain't good enough because Dak got to make all this money, overcome all that. We don't do that with Micah Parsons. But if you look in them games that Dak Prescott, we say losing, guess who losing on the other side? Guess whose defensive performance on the other side is terrible? We don't do this stuff with Micah. We put it all on Dak. Now, we need to be digging in. We need to be digging in. And this dude right here, I'm telling you, the Cowboys, what they need to do, I would go in this draft and get a true D end. And I would move Micah Parsons to linebacker and let him roam all over the place so he can contribute in the run game, in the pass game. And so when teams see us, they say, oh, well, if we just double team Micah Parsons and stop him on quarterback pressures or stay out of 3rd and long, oh, better yet, let's run at him. Because some teams just run at him, and he once they run at him, there's nothing he can do. He's undersized. He gets caught up in all the scrum. He is a lot easier to defend than the big true D ends. They shed blocks on double teams. They do those things. Michael, there's a reason why they're doing these things to him. 1, he's quick. But number 2, he's undersized. I'm telling you, we make every excuse. Man, I'm telling you, this dude, Demarion Overshown, this dude is crazy. Appreciate what's going on, Wicked? Smash the like, subscribe, y'all. Yeah, hit that notification bell. Yeah, let's do it. I'm telling you, man, this dude is nice. Mike opens up rush lanes for everybody else. You know, we just keep making all these. Why do we keep making all these excuses? These are excuses, is all they are. They are excuses because what we're saying is he's opening up the game for everybody else. That's basically what we're saying. So we're willing to live with this amount of productivity, and then Micah Parsons at the end of the season is going to be telling Jerry Jones he wants to be the highest paid defensive end in football. And I'm not pocket watching the man. But if we're going to say Micah Parsons is going to be worth whatever they give him, then we need to stop talking about Dak Prescott, and people need to stay out of this man's pockets. Because Dak Prescott covered up a lot of deficiencies for this team. A lot of them. And so I'm telling us, Micah, while he's great, he's an elite player. But it's because of the way they're using him is why he's disappearing in these big games. And that's the knock. Because that's what people were talking about last year. Where is Micah Parsons down the stretch? Where is he? So you telling me he's that elite? And he can, so you telling me he's so elite that double teams just make him disappear? They'll make Bosa disappear. That's the one dude I can say for a fact. They don't make Bosa disappear. They don't make him disappear. There's a reason why. It's not just Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not just Brock Purdy. It's not just Christian McCaffrey. It's not just what they have on offense with Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and Kittle. It's not just that. They have been performing on defense because, of course, they got Werner, and then they have Bosa. He hard to stop. He's making big plays. Bosa makes big plays in big games. How do we know? We've seen it. We've seen Bosa on the biggest stage and go, doggone it. Bosa come in and wreck shop on somebody. We haven't seen that from Micah Parsons. We just haven't. Amtrak, that's one of the problems I think with Micah Parsons too, is that they're saying stuff like, "Oh man, he's LT's." Man, stop it. Micah Parsons not even the stratosphere. Man, LT was something that, man, this dude was an alien, bro. Victor, since Bland and Parsons back to defense, been playing lights out. Now, you say it's something else, Victor. They're getting other players back too. And a lot of people don't realize, see, what was really hurting the Cowboys is when you look at some of the games, like when Eric Kendricks was out. Well, what are they going to do without the quarterback of the defense? Eric Kendricks is so important to the Dallas defense. And I'm going to show you here. I've been looking at some of this stuff. Today. And I think Playmaker, I'll see if I have time here to look at some of the games without Micah Parsons. The guy that really needs to tell him to shut the F. Man, let me tell you something. Amtrak. I see exactly what Micah Parsons is trying to do too, and it'll be the worst thing to happen to this team. Micah Parsons wants to be the leader of this team. We don't need you to be the leader of this team, Micah Parsons. You say too many things that put other people on the hook. You have an affinity for attention like your owner. You're on these podcasts, and now you're defending the podcast because you want to be right no matter what. But Dak Prescott is the leader of this team. This is Dak Prescott's team, period, end of story. But I think this is something that Micah Parsons is desiring. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what y'all been watching because this defense was already improving before Micah Parsons came back. And don't get me wrong, the defense is better with Micah Parsons. It's the same thing with Dak Prescott. The offense is better with Dak Prescott. But We have to understand, you can almost look at these in parallels in a sense. How much better could Micah Parsons be at linebacker? Because I'm telling us, we keep talking about all these pressures, but y'all won't answer the question. Tell me the signature game. Tell me the signature game that you remember in the playoffs where Micah Parsons, or against a great team, Micah Parsons wrecked shop so hard you said, man, he changed the game. That's why we won the game. Micah's not doing that in the big games. And when I show people this, they get all in their feelings. But it's the truth. It's indisputable. When you look at his big games, where you would be thinking, surely, Micah Parsons going to eat, they're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. No, he doesn't. He doesn't do it. He does not do it. And I laugh at people because they literally destroyed Dak Prescott behind that Green Bay game. And nobody wanted to talk about the defense. Nobody hardly wanted to talk about it. They didn't want to talk about the fact that the Packers scored on their first 9 drives. What was it, first 9, first 8, first 7? Defense couldn't do anything. Couldn't do absolutely nothing. And the issue becomes in those games, where's Micah Parsons? Where is he? Where is he in those games? Where is he? We want to talk about it. Yeah, look at, you know what? As I've been saying, even about this season, and people keep talking about evaluating, I just don't know if I think we can evaluate probably the defense a lot better. We can probably evaluate the line and see what they're doing. But I think the true evaluation for this team is coming in this 5-game stretch. Because I'm laughing at how people was talking about this team just 2 games ago. But all of a sudden we win 2 games, and then here we go again. Now all of a sudden we're back to being world beaters because now we're the best team in the league. All of a sudden we're the best team in the league again, and the Cowboys are about to make a magic carpet ride, and the Cowboys going to win out, and we're going to the Super Bowl because the team plays better with Cooper Rush, and everybody loves Cooper Rush. Kumbaya, Dak need to leave. We'll see if everybody going to have that same energy in another 2 games. We'll see if everybody going to have that same energy. And this is the problem, like I'm saying. See, people want you, well, show us the game without Micah Parsons. No, I'm going to show you the game with Micah Parsons. This is the Green Bay game. This is the Green Bay game. This is Micah Parsons with 2 tackles. Micah Parsons with 2 tackles. Why did Jordan Love go untouched? Why did Jordan Love just basically go untouched against? Why? Why did he go untouched? This is what happens frequently with Micah Parsons in these big games. Frequently. So what's the next excuse we're going to make? What's the next one? Spider-Man, you better believe he is. That's the point I'm making. Micah Parsons is not the man on this defense. No, it's this dude right here. It's this dude right here. Demo, as y'all are calling him, he likes to refer to himself as Agent Zero. He is the one. That's why Eric Kendrick said it. He didn't say Micah Parsons. This dude said what this dude is doing is literally amazing, and it is. And it is amazing. And I think if the Cowboys get this dude, if once they really figure out how they can really work Micah Parsons, because I think they use him also too generically. They line him up on one side. Every so often they'll move him around and blah, blah, blah. But this is why he eats off these weak teams. And then when they play these good teams, where's Micah Parsons, y'all? Where is he? It's not a knock on him. He's out of position. When you play better teams, they have better players. Micah Parsons is an average. So it's no wonder when he beats an average guy. Michael Parsons isn't even just good. It's no wonder when he beats a good guy. But when he goes up against elite competition, where they know how to scheme, double team, chip, running back, I mean, you name it. They know how to do all that stuff. How much of that do you have to put on Micah before he says uncle? How much of that do you have to put on him? What does the score have to be? I mean, you got to think about this. This is psychological. And so Micah Parsons, where is he in these big games? Where is he? I can show you the sorry teams. He's eating on them. He's not eating on the good teams. Are you telling me these are where all the double teams are coming from? Is that where all the double teams and all of that, is that where that's coming from? And then the sorry teams are single cut and he's eating on them? No, they're doubling them too. The issue is better competition is more successful at it. They are. Kevin, he broke the game open. And they didn't even give him credit for it. Because the Cowboys, the way they were looking, it looked like they were basically going to let the Giants take them down to the wire. And the Giants almost did take them down to the wire. Jerry Jones said, oh, yeah, they almost came back on us. Did they really, Jerry? Yeah, that's to be expected because we got tired. So you're telling me, Jerry, that your defense got tired? And that's why the Giants almost came back again? This is insanity. Yep, but see, we don't do that. Dak Prescott is my issue. See what I'm saying? I'm telling you, we don't. Dak has had good games despite box scores too. And we'll tear Dak up, though. Now, we're not going to give Dak nothing. We ain't going to give him nothing. And Pro Football Focus will even come and back up Dak. And people like Skip Bayless will say, oh, I don't like what Pro Football Focus said about Dak. It's amazing how we want to use Pro Football Focus, who is the de facto standard, in a sense, in all of these quote-unquote analytics that a lot of people use to defend players now. You're noticing, I'm noticing this a lot with a lot of these guys when they want to defend their favorite players. They start digging into all the stuff from Pro Football Focus. But when Pro Football Focus ranks Dak Prescott as the highest ranked player on the team, and Dak was the reason why they won him because Dak did this and Dak did, you'll never hear him talk about it. Oh, he's still trash. Oh, he's still trash. It's it. And Dak ain't even playing. Jimmy Johnson brought him up this week. Terry Bradshaw brought him up this week. People just keep talking about it. It's stupid. What's going on, Angie? Wilson says Zimmer isn't it. They know how to beat the players and Zimmer. It was the Giants, but at least he didn't give himself another nickname. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that in just a moment. I'm gonna move to that next part on that. So Dak doesn't open up the game for the offensive guys in comparison to Cooper Rush. I see that's the hypocrisy. No doubt. This is my problem even with Mike McCarthy. How much better could you have been running with Dak Prescott on the field? Because we know Dak can throw a deep ball. We know Cooper Rush can't. This is the stuff about Mike McCarthy, and I'm going to talk about this in just a moment. So now you're going to say he hasn't had a chance to play down the stretch with Zimmer's scheme. But if we say Mike McCarthy is a terrible play caller, Dak Prescott don't get that. This is just moving the goalpost. So we're saying that Dan Quinn, so what are we saying? We're saying that Zimmer is a better defensive play caller than Dan Quinn? I mean, he's better than Dan Quinn. When this team handicapped, no linebackers, Dan Quinn was patchworking this defense and had this defense, top 5? I'm not giving it to you. I'm not giving it to you. No, I'm not giving that. We're not going to make this into Dan Quinn. Because I guarantee you're going to be hard-pressed to find a lot of people that's going to tell you that Zimmer is better than Quinn. You're going to be hard-pressed. Zimmer's scheme was garbage. Still can't stop the run. Now, he's gotten better at stopping the run. But the problem is, where my problem is, we're doing all this talking off of the Giants, the Commanders, and the Giants. Two games that I think the Cowboys were heavily motivated to win. The Commanders, Dan Quinn, I think they wanted that game real bad. The Giants, I'm sorry, it's not even motivation. The Cowboys would have lost to the Giants, it would have just been a travesty. It would have just been a travesty. Wilson, before all the injuries, the defense still couldn't do anything. And now I'm hearing Micah Parsons talking about, well, now we're just now getting used to Dan Quinn. I mean, getting used to, we're getting the hang of Mike Zimmer's defense. In week 12? Week 12. Week 12. That's insane. That's all I'm saying. It's insane to even fathom that we're in week 12 and we're just now. This is crazy. This is crazy. Troy, and you might not realize it, but see, that's my point. It's all Dak. But it's never no one else stepped up. It's all Dak. See, notice what you're doing. When we make a Micah argument, everyone says, well, who did step up? But if we make a Dak argument, oh, it's Dak. Dak's the problem. Dak's the problem. Dak's the problem for this team. And that's what people do. They move the goalposts. And I'm just telling us, I mean, Wilson Santiago, I'm just being truthful and people don't want to hear it. Micah is eating on bad teams. And this is even my problem with Mike McCarthy. If you look at the 12-win seasons, what's been the knock on Mike McCarthy in the 12-game seasons, the 12-win seasons? People keep saying, well, Dak Prescott is terrible when he plays against teams with a 500 record or better. No, Mike McCarthy has that record also. The team has that record also. But when you hear the Cowherds, when you hear the Smiths, when you hear all them talk about it, Dak Prescott is the only one with that problem. It's stupid. Football's the ultimate team sport. And when it comes to Dak, it's all Dak. Victor said, I'm telling y'all, Dak was hurt in the preseason. Remember, he had a boot. He hid his injuries and to the public, the reason why he wasn't running. You know what, Victor? Some people said this early on in the season on this channel when I first started it. And I was kind of like, well, I don't know. They didn't say anything about it, blah, blah, blah. But the more I think about it, and the fact, like you said, Dak seemed like he was making a point not to run. It just seems like maybe there was something to it. That I don't, but you know, the part I find hard, Victor, the only part I find hard to believe is surely they gave Dak Prescott a physical before he got that contract. And I'm just like, man, they signed him to that contract with an injury? Man, that would be crazy to me. James Dudley, appreciate the super chat. Micah defensive end against weaker teams, but Micah linebacker against better teams. Fact. Yes. James Godley, if they thought like what you just said, I think this team would be better than what it is. Maybe you say against certain teams you're going to do something different with Micah Parsons. Because the thing, like I said, he's an elite player. And what frustrates me a lot of time with the Cowboys is they just basically say, oh, okay, we're just going to line him up on the left. Okay, can we do something else? Every now and then they'll send him, on a stun or something. But for the most part, I come to the line and know exactly what Micah Parsons is. I mean, you might do a little stunt, but he ain't going to do a whole lot of just a whole bunch of fancy stuff. Now, Mike Zimmer did get a little fancy with him, I think, against the Commanders. But he could, because of his size, his skill set, this man could be doing so much more for this football team. But instead, we're satisfied with quarterback pressures. You know how I nullify quarterback pressures? Run the ball. What are you going to do? How do you pressure the quarterback if he's not going to run? You know why he disappeared in the Green Bay game? I got news for us. Because they ran the ball. And if I'm going to run the ball, you got to tell me, how does a person who has a high pressure percentage rate, how does he get pressure if I'm not going to run, if I'm not going to throw the football? Folk don't think. This is why he disappears. Because what good is he when you got a running team? What good is Micah Parsons if you talk about all the pressure he gets on the quarterback? Because he doesn't contribute in the run game. He doesn't. He's not contributing in the run game the way that you would want him to. You know how I know this is true? See, we like to dig into pro football folks and talk about pressure rate and double teams. Why do I need to double team him if I can just do this to him? This is the formula for winning championships. There's a number on here you might not realize with Jordan Love. There's a number on here that's sticking out. Let me narrow it down for you. It's not the 3 touchdowns. It's not the 13 yards per pass average. It's not the 272 yards. There's a number you need to circle on there that makes Michael Parsons irrelevant if you're going to play him at defensive end. And that number is 21. Do we realize the Green Bay Packers only threw the ball 21 times? So if he's only dropping back 21 times, and let's say they run, 60 plays maybe. So now you got to tell me, what was that? 21, 33 runs, 54 plays. So if you're only going to run 21 of the 54 plays, well, what does Michael Parsons do the other 33? What does he do? What does he do? We're not thinking. And the Cowboys aren't thinking. This is why teams nullify him in the big game. Oh, okay, Michael Parsons, he's just going to rush the pass. You know how you stop a pass rush? Run the ball. Run the ball. That's how you stop a pass rush. If you can run the ball, run the ball. That's how you stop a pass rush. Because how do you rush the passer if I'm running the ball? And Michael Parsons, a little bit undersized. He's going to be a little bit easier to block in the run game too. He's going to be a little bit easier to block in the run game. There's a reason why Aaron Jones destroyed the Cowboys with 21 carries, 118 yards. Where was Michael Parsons? He gets nullified, and that's the point I'm making. Folk trying to defend like you're saying he's not good. I just answered your question. You said, but his pressures kept Stroud from killing his team. No, Stroud and the Houston Texans are struggling. Did you see what happened to them the next week? And did we, wait a minute, did we win the Texans game? I'm confused. Maybe I'm missing it. Did we win the Texans game? We didn't win the Texans game. You nullify Michael Parsons. And this is why Demarion Overshown is going to continue to be a force on this team. He's hard to take out of a game. He can do it all. Do y'all realize that Demarion Overshown is not only getting sacks, he's not only getting tackles, he's getting sacks. He can do it all. He can literally do it all. I believe Micah Parsons can do it all and probably do it all better than Demarion Overshown. But he's not going to ever, until somebody says, you know what, we need to move this dude back, move him to linebacker. Until someone gets that smart, everyone who argues for Micah Parsons are always going to be talking about quarterback pressures. What do you do when a team only run? I'll just keep proving my point. And I'm not going to keep proving my point, but I'm going to prove another point to you. Because, see, I'm laughing that we're talking about this like, oh, yeah, you know, it's because of the, you know, we keep talking about the quarterback pressures and, okay. I don't think we are understanding what I'm saying. See, I can tell that when we start talking about things, a lot of us are just talking the same narrative. I'm not talking about the narrative because I'm telling you I'm different. I'm not going to talk narratives like other folk do because I noticed that a lot of people, they listen to the points that other people make and they memorize those points. They haven't even looked at them themselves, hadn't looked at the game, hadn't looked at the tape. They go and just start spouting off the same stuff they've heard someone else say. I know what they're doing because this is what people do. No, you got to go in here. You got to dig in and stop saying that the box scores don't matter when the box scores absolutely matter, especially when you can understand that the analytics must match the box score. The box score and the analytics can't be separate. No, they all tell the story. The analytics, the box score, the tape. They're the same story. They're all the same story. The box score is just the overall of this is the result of the analytics. This is what happened. Now, if you want to go dig into the analytics, it's fine. But the analytics shouldn't tell you anything different than the box score. Make sense? Makes sense for all of us super analytical people. Make sense? Let me make it make more sense for you. So let's think about how the Cowboys, because see, I'm confused that Micah Parsons said that they were just getting good with the Zimmer scheme when you looked at the opening game against the Cleveland Browns and it looked like they understood the scheme very well. They dominated. They dominated the Cleveland Browns. Does anybody not remember that? They dominated the Cleveland Browns. But then the strange thing was they came back. Let's see, who did they play the next week? I thought it was actually the New Orleans. Was it the New Orleans Saints the next week? I want you to look at this game against New Orleans Saints. And people keep talking about, well, the box scores don't tell the whole story. That is a bold-faced lie. You can look at this box score and just say, okay, I see what happened. So let me show you simplicity. I don't need to go to Pro Football Focus. Let me show you simplicity. How many tackles does Micah Parsons have? Now, Demarion Overshown, y'all remember, we were mad about this because they were bringing Demarion Overshown slowly on pitch counts as he was coming back from that knee injury. So some of the things we saw early from Overshown, we know why these things are. But look at Micah Parsons. That's 3 tackles. That's 2 solo, 1 assist. Now, let's make it Goo Gaga. Is it because Micah Parsons is sorry? Nope. Is Micah Parsons not an elite player? Yes, he is. So why did he only have 3 tackles in this game? It's simple. Don't tell me the box score will not tell you the story. You want to know the story? There's a number on here with Derek Carr. There's a number on here. I want y'all, maybe let me narrow it down for you. Because maybe you don't know the number you need to be looking at. It's not the interceptions. It's not the touchdowns. It's not the yards. It's not the completions. There's a number you need to be looking at. 16 attempts. You know how I stop a pass rush? Run the ball. And if I can be successful at running the ball, guess what that does to Micah Parsons playing defensive end? He done. He toast. And I remember Michael was talking about this game because he talked about how they either ran away from him, they ran at him, they chipped him. They were doing everything they could do, but they knew, hey, he's undersized. Just run at him. Just run at him. Or he going to line up at the end? We'll just run away from him. We'll run at him, we'll run away from him. Which one do you want? If we run at him, we chip him. If we run away from him, they were even putting the tight ends in motion. Boom. They were doing everything they could do. Look at this again. 20 for 115, 8 for 39, 3 for 18, 3 for 13. This is how you nullify a Micah Parsons. And this is why he is not. How much you bet if he was a linebacker? How much you bet if he was a linebacker, how much more active he would be in these games? How much more active do you think it would be? How much more do you think that this team, when they came in here and ran for 200 or almost 200 yards, I think they ran for 200 yards on the Cowboys, how much you bet they wouldn't have done that with Micah Parsons at linebacker? I don't think they would have. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is what we keep getting from Micah Parsons, but you get the Micah Parsons apologists, as they accuse us of being the Dak apologists. You get the Micah Parsons apologists, and they'll make every excuse of why, when you look at his box score, it don't look right, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're saying, don't look at the box score on Micah Parsons. But it's strange. We can look at the box score on everybody else. Dak Prescott was 27, 39, 293, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So you're telling me what year was it? Was it 2022? When Dak Prescott had the broken thumb and he came back extra early? And Dak Prescott was throwing all the interceptions? And everybody was saying, oh, well, that's no excuse. Well, no. Y'all remember? Not only was his thumb, y'all remember that there were quite a few of those interceptions that were coming from tipped balls? Would that not be an analytical issue to say, well, actually, that interception shouldn't count against Dak? It was a tip. Did they give us that? Nope. All they did was ran on TV and said, oh, Dak threw all these interceptions. It's amazing how the analytics work for you when you want them to. When you want them to work for you, they work. But when you start using them for somebody that someone don't like, all hogwash. It's just an excuse. It's the same thing I keep saying. It's amazing. When folk like a player, it's every excuse. When they hate a player, it's no excuse. Now, for me, I absolutely love Micah Parsons. I do. You keep hearing me say he's elite. He is. He's an elite player. But he's an elite player that I don't think they're playing him in the right position. And I think that's why he keeps getting nullified in these big games. Week 12, half the defense has been out with injury. It's hard to mesh as a defense when you don't have your core players. And this is one of the reasons why I'm still kind of, people keep talking about, we're going to evaluate. I'm still kind of shaky on the evaluation part. I'm still shaky on that. Because how can we evaluate the offense and Cooper Rush can't throw the ball past 10 yards? Because there are people right now saying Jonathan Mingo is a bust. Why are we saying this? I know why we're saying it. Because Cooper Rush can't get the ball to him. That's why we're saying it. I don't want to see Jonathan Mingo with Cooper Rush. I want to see Jonathan Mingo with Dak Prescott because that's the only way you truly know what you have. Dak always the problem, like he's the only player on the team. He can't even get healthy in peace. I said the same thing. The man can't even get healthy in peace, and people just talk about him like a dog. And they say Dak only gets stats in garbage time. Now they tripping on Michael. It's funny, and I heard somebody say this the other day, and I think it's a pretty good saying. They were saying that they don't like the term garbage time because if you just keep playing, you never know what can happen. And I don't know if I necessarily believe in the garbage time, and I don't know, maybe you're missed because, see, hatred is a terrible thing. Hatred makes you hear things that you're not hearing and see things that you're not seeing. This is not about Micah in garbage time. It's just the facts. The stats are showing it. Micah Parsons eats on the bad teams. But where is he with the good teams? And this is not me talking. They were talking about this last year. I don't understand why people, when I'm bringing this up, some people acting like this is so new. It's not new. People were talking about this last year from 2022 and 2023. We're waiting on Micah Parsons to have these breakout big games. What's going on, P-Funk? People, I mean, we're waiting on him to have these breakout games. When? I mean, I'm laughing. People talking about, yeah, man, Micah Parsons, he was hurt and he's still on. He's on track to get 10 sacks. And we're saying this because we expected anything less? I mean, he's getting 16 sacks in a 17-game season. We don't think that if Micah Parsons misses about 3 or 4 games, he still can't average 1 sack per game he plays? It is literally insane when we start talking about this stuff with Micah Parsons. And I'm telling us, just like earlier, someone says, oh, yeah, the quarterback pressures against the Houston Texans. Let me show you something strange here. I'm just saying maybe these numbers right here are just wrong because every time we're numbers, when we're talking about Micah Parsons, they're wrong. If they're numbers when we're talking about Dak Prescott, wait, which one is it? This is the Houston Texans game. Micah Parsons playing that game? I'm just asking because, if I'm not mistaken, these are the games that Micah Parsons has played this season. Hold on a second, y'all. Strange. It seems like exactly what I'm saying, that when you look at these sorry teams for the most part. Now, Micah Parsons against the Baltimore Ravens, he had 5 tackles, 4 solo, 1 assist, and 1 stuff. Now, let's think about why did he have 5 tackles? Man, New Orleans Saints was running the ball all over the Cowboys. I mean, they were. It's kind of like that game with Trayvon Diggs, where basically the Houston Texans said Trayvon Diggs don't want to tackle, so we'll make sure whatever man Trayvon Diggs is on, we're going to throw the ball to that man. Because either Trayvon Diggs is going to tackle or we not. And if he don't, we'll run the long run. They made him tackle. So, again, the stats are proving my point again. Look at this. Cleveland Browns. We figured out they were pretty terrible, right? Did we not figure that out, family? Look at Micah Parsons against the Cleveland Browns. Micah Parsons. 4 tackles, 3 solo, 1 assist, and a sack. Now, and I'm pretty sure we love to talk about when we win these games against teams like Cleveland, everybody runs to, and look at all the quarterback pressures, okay? So now you got to explain these 2 games to me. I can explain them to you. I don't have to go to Pro Football Focus. I can explain these two games to you. They both shared something in common. You want to know why? Look at this. New Orleans. He only had 3 tackles, 2 solo, 1 assist, half a sack. They ran the ball. In the story, they ran the ball. He only threw the ball 16 times because Cowboys couldn't stop the run. And Micah Parsons is a part of that defense that couldn't stop the run. You look at the Baltimore Ravens. You want to see it again? 4 solo tackles, 1 assist, 1 stuff. And I'm sorry, that's not even a sack against the New Orleans Saints. That's counted as a stuff. I think it's a stuff for loss. So he had a half yard, I think, or either a half yard, 1 yard, and then let me make sure what this is. Yeah, it's stuffs. Okay, he had half a stuff, 1 stuff against the Baltimore Ravens. So look at this. You notice something in common? No sacks. You want to know what the Ravens did? They looked at the New Orleans Saints game plan, and guess what they did? They did the same thing. They ran the ball. He only threw the ball 21 times. How do you rush the passer if I say you can't stop the run? Same thing happened with the Green Bay Packers. You can't stop the run. Where's the pass rush? It's going to be non-existent because you're going to be so worried about the run at that point. Every time we play action, you're going to hesitate because you're going to be afraid it's a run. Notice, everybody thought the Saints were the best thing since sliced bread, and we found out the Saints were no good. But the Baltimore Ravens, good team. Look at the New York Giants. This is another game he played. You want to see what happened? 2 total tackles, 2 stuffs, no sacks. This was the New York Giants. And look at the score. It was 2015. Y'all remember? This is the game he got hurt. D-Law got hurt. And they barely pulled this game off. You look at the Philadelphia game. 2 tackles, 2 sacks. But we lost that game. And it wasn't a big game. It just wasn't a big game. We lost the game 34-6. And we can break it all down. We know Cooper Rush had turnovers. We know that there were things going on. But are we saying that because he got 2 sacks in this game, it was a big game? That's not a big game. It didn't change the game. It just didn't change the game. The Houston Texans, we were just talking about this. We're talking about all the quarterback pressures. He got 1 tackle. 1 tackle. And the Houston Texans aren't really that good. They're above 500. Now, I don't find it to be strange, like I said. I just believe he was extra motivated against this Washington Commanders team. I just think he was extra motivated. They wanted to beat the Commanders, and you could tell the way all of them were playing, like, we're not losing this game. I don't consider this to be a big game, but I'm going to give him credit for it. It was a great game. He had 8 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 stuffs. He was going nuts in that game. And I think he wanted to prove to everyone because he kept hearing the talk about people saying Dan Quinn's his buddy. Dan Quinn's his buddy. He's not going to play good when he play against Dan Quinn. There were people saying that stuff. Micah Parsons went out there and balled out on the Washington Commanders. But then, even if you come back against the Giants, we gave him, I'm not saying we, but people gave him credit like he literally went out there and dominated the game. He didn't dominate the game. He didn't, and it's the truth. Micah Parsons did not dominate that game. The person that dominated that game was Demo, Agent Zero, Demarion Overshown. He literally dominated that game, and it's a travesty that they came out here and gave Micah Parsons the Madden Award. This is insane. And for folk to even act like it's cool to do that. This is what's wrong with this franchise, man. We do so many things. We play so many things on politics. I mean, from the ownership to the fan base, man. We play politics, and we won't admit when a spade is a spade. If we like them, every excuse. We don't like them, they get no excuse. And while I don't think there's anybody that don't like Demarion Overshown, but it goes to show you people's affinity for Micah Parsons, because we can't even admit, I'm sorry, but he did not deserve that award on Thanksgiving. It should have went to Demarion Overshown, hands down. And you can't, I don't care if you go to Pro Football Focus or Defocus, there is no discussion on the fact that this man dominated this game. How do you say he didn't? How do you say he didn't dominate this game? Kendricks, awesome game. I'm sorry, Kendricks, 10 tackles, 1 sack. Deron Bland, 9 tackles. Demarion Overshown, 9 tackles, 1 interception, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble recovery. How does he not get it? The interception he tipped to himself, ran it in. How does he not get it? You could argue Kendricks could have got it, but I think that the play that Overshown made, it changed the complexion of the game. It really put the Cowboys in the driver's seat to where now they could play the way they like to play. Play with the lead, ears pinned back, go out and win the game. Overshown should have got it. Overshown should have got it. Nothing away from Micah Parsons. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. If you don't think Micah Parsons should be a linebacker, okay. You know, the thing that I've had to block some people on X already, because we're talking sports. There has to be a level of respect. And some of these Cowboy fans are so toxic. I mean, they'll call you stuff like morons, and I mean, using profanity, and you ain't nothing, and all. What are we doing? I mean, we're just talking football at the end of the day. Some of it is objective, and then some of it may be subjective. And if people want to have their opinions, if you want to feel like Micah Parsons should play defensive end, fine. I can respect it. But what I'm doing is I'm just showing the stats, the facts that are showing that whether we accept it or not, the Cowboys are literally taking this man out of the game. They're taking him out of the game. End of story. They're taking him out of the game. He could be way more effective. And I think the comment again that James Godley made, I think this is a powerful comment. DN against weaker teams. Michael linebacker against better teams. That is powerful. What a game plan that would be. Hey, Michael, you know what? We're going to be playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals, y'all, we about to see something different. I said this the other day, but we about to see something different. See, we've been playing teams. They only have 1 wide receiver. Cincinnati's offense is absolutely explosive. It's explosive. We're going to go over it next week. I've already been looking at the numbers. I've already watched them play 3 times. And I have watched them, what they've done to they've done to good teams. Their offense is explosive. It is. It is. And this is the one game, if the Cowboys can, if Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland can play this game, they're going to need it. They're going to need Bland, Diggs, Jordan Lewis. They're going to need all 3 of them. The safeties, they're going to have to be so on point. The safeties are going to have to be on point. I'm telling y'all, they hadn't played. CJ Stroud, he had a rookie season. Dax was better. Stroud had a really good rookie season. You see how he's playing now? Missing a couple of players. It happens to all of them. You get a player missing here and there, you don't look the same. They came back, if I'm not mistaken. Houston came back. Was it not if I'm not mistaken, the Houston Texans got beat by the Tennessee Titans. Make it make sense. They came back after beating the Cowboys, and they got beat by the Tennessee Titans. I'm telling y'all, Cincinnati is different than even Houston. They're different. They're different. And I am so excited to see this Cowboys defense go up against Cincinnati, because this is what I was saying to people earlier, that now we're going to get to see against a team like Cincinnati, what is this defense? At least we'll get to see somewhat what this defense is. We'll literally get to evaluate them against a team like Cincinnati. They're explosive. They're literally explosive. Joe Burrow is the real deal. And Joe Burrow is the type of quarterback, if you don't play down to the line, if you don't play down to the wire, where Drew Lock couldn't succeed, he will succeed. Now, I think the key is going to be to the game is that Mike Zimmer's going to have to come up with a game plan that keeps the Cincinnati Bengals below. He's going to have to be able to keep them some kind of way below 30 points. He has to keep them below 30 points. And they will have to figure out a way again. They better be able to manufacture points again, either whether it be special teams or the defense better score. This will not be when the Cowboys played the Cincinnati Bengals in 2022 and Cooper Rush had a game-winning drive. This ain't that. This ain't that. We're going to really get an opportunity to see this defense against a way more explosive and way more explosive team, which I'm actually excited for. I'm really excited for it. So I want to switch gears. Like I said, this is really a Demarion Overshown topic. I really like some of the things that Overshown is doing. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm gonna switch gears. And for all you people in the comments, you're entitled to your, I'm not gonna be like a lot of people. You're entitled to your opinion. I think sometimes people get too bent out of shape because, man, it's social media, man. We're talking sports. We bring our facts, and the facts are the facts, and feelings can't change them. They can't change them. And so it is what it is. People will still keep their same opinion even after that. Dak would have beat the Texans and the Eagles. I 1,000% agree. I 1,000% agree. Yeah, I 1,000% agree. Defense held Barkley to less than 80 yards. Dak would have beat them like he always does. Oh, yeah. Dak has 8 on those boys. What I love about Dak, he never give up. Never give him when he's down, but everybody call it garbage time. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, Dak is garbage time. Dak would have tore these teams up. They just weren't good enough. And even Mike McCarthy talked about the fact that Mike McCarthy has been somewhat honest about the way Cooper Rush has been playing, because even he has been saying that Cooper Rush has been, there has been some throws that have been there, and Cooper Rush has just missed them. He can't make them. The real Daryl, what's going on? The defense did not do that good against New Orleans. You cannot be down 14-6 and give up a TD on 4 plays. Exactly. And that's why I say, you run on them, you nullify them. It takes a defense at least half a season to learn a scheme. Well, according to Micah Parsons, it takes a little bit more than half a season because, what are we now in week 13? Injuries delayed the learning process. Okay, we're going to see. Quinn is what delayed Michael's learning process. I don't know about he delayed. Dan Quinn's defense. I talked about this early in the season. I think the reason why Micah and even Trayvon Diggs liked Dan Quinn's defense, it's more of a mercenary defense. Mercenary, renegade type defense where Dan wants everybody to get to the ball. Get to the ball. That's why they were getting so many turnovers. That's why they were getting all these sacks and strip sacks and touchdowns. That's why they were doing those things. Dan Quinn is high risk, high reward. He doesn't deal like Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer, old school coach, very disciplined. Everybody stay in your lane. Stay in your gaps. Know your assignments. Know where you're supposed to be in the zone. Cornerbacks, try to keep everything in front of you. Safeties, make sure you nothing deep. Nothing deep, with the safeties. And I said this earlier about Mike Zimmer's defense. See, what was betraying Mike Zimmer was the secondary play. The secondary play is what was really betraying Mike Zimmer. But now we've seen flashes of the kid Butler. We've seen flashes. DeRon Bland gets back. We are seeing flashes of the secondary playing better. Because with the cornerbacks playing better, what's so crazy to me is we're watching the safeties play better. We're getting better safety play because them dudes was losing it, man. But now that the secondary is playing better, now we're seeing Mike Zimmer's defense look a lot more sound. They're looking a lot more sound. And I think that's one of the reasons why they were able to kind of put the kibosh on Daniels. But this is going to be a test for Zimmer and this defense. Because with Cincinnati, the run is the least of your problems. Now, if they can't block Micah Parsons may eat this game. But at the same time, they have so many weapons on that doggone team. Man, I'm telling you, they better get Joe Burrow on the ground all day because if they don't, it's going to be a shootout. And I don't think Cooper Rush is ready for a shootout. Wilson said, I don't think Parsons learners become a better podcaster. Ooh, man. Jay Recruiter. Man, I thought it was just me, man. Them dudes on X is root, man. X is a whole different universe. Man, them dudes on there are ruthless, Jay Recruiter. Man, I can't deal in all the name calling and stuff, man. I can't do it. Diggs, Bland, and J-Lou will shut the Bengals. We gonna see. We about to get a test. Boy, I'm excited for this game. I am, because this is going to be a game. Because, see, them last two games, I think it's easy. It's just like the Cowboys. I'm sorry. If I was a defensive coordinator, I never understood why people didn't do to the Cowboys what the Packers did to them in the playoffs. And I understand some teams don't have that type of personnel. But for me, if you just got one wide receiver, man, I'm sorry, you're not beating me with one wide receiver. You're just not doing it. I'm not letting you beat me with one wide receiver. I'm not letting you beat me with one wide receiver, and the second receiver to him is such a drop-off. Man, there is no way you're going to beat me, man. I'll do what they used to do back in the 90s. They used to run a scheme. I remember, I think it was either the 49ers that used to do stuff like this, where they would put Deion Sanders not on the best wide receiver, but the second best wide receiver, and double the best wide receiver. And in that way, you shut it all down. We're going to double your first option, and your second option is not even an option no more. You couldn't beat me with one wide receiver. And so for any team, it's easier when there's one great wide receiver and everyone else is just kind of like, we can cover them with third string guys. Cincinnati different. Cincinnati is so different. And I think we're going to see, and let me get into this part, because I do think that this is going to matter. The next portion I want to get into is kind of like, let me see if I want to go here. Okay, let me go here first. And I may save the rest for tomorrow night, because this is actually going to be about tomorrow night or tomorrow in a sense. So there are some significant games happening that are going to affect the Dallas Cowboys in this whole thing of people acting like we're about to make a magical carpet ride, that we're about to go to the playoffs. So I have put together here, and I left a couple of teams off, but they need to be on here too. But the Cowboys are not playing tomorrow. So for all of us Cowboy fans, there are games to watch. There are games that we need to have our eyes on tomorrow. And the games we need to watch, and there's two of them I didn't put on here. I didn't think about it, but let me mention those two first. The two that we need to also watch, the 49ers and the Buffalo Bills tomorrow night, because I think the Bills, because I got to look at the injury report, but from what I'm seeing, the San Francisco 49ers now are going through what the Cowboys went through. They are decimated. Purdy hurt. Bosa hurt. I think a couple of others are like kind of down. So they're not at full strength. And so they're playing the Bills tomorrow. And so if the Bills beat the 49ers, that's another team that's in front of us that may fall behind us, depending upon what happens next week, especially. And then you have the Rams against the New Orleans Saints. If the New Orleans Saints can beat the Rams, you'll have a situation to where two of the teams, and let's look at this real quick. We'll kind of go back and forth a little bit between this. If you look at these teams, looking at the playoff picture right now, let's see here. Looking at the playoff picture, these teams are in front of us. Let me see. Trying to pull up the playoff schedule. Whoa. So, like I'm saying, these two teams right here are important in this quote-unquote magical playoff picture for the Dallas Cowboys, because these two teams are in the NFC, and so it's a big deal if these two teams lose. So we look right here, because all of these teams are playing, and the only spot that's available is number 7. 5 and 6 out of the question. The only wild card spot available in the NFC is the 7th seed. And so because the 49ers, they're 5 and 6. Now, the only problem with this is the 49ers are 5 and 6. Even if they get beat by the Buffalo Bills, of which I got a feeling the Bills are going to throttle them tomorrow, they're still going to be one game ahead of the Cowboys, because the San Francisco 49ers own the tiebreaker over us. And then also the Rams are playing the New Orleans Saints. And so if the Rams lose, they're going to fall to 5 and 7. But what I'm not sure of is this is the problem with this whole thing with the Cowboys. Dak Prescott talked about this before. When you start talking about going to the playoffs and you need other teams to lose or win, that becomes a problem. that becomes a problem because now you don't get to control your own destiny. Other teams control your destiny. And this is exactly what I was afraid of. So even if the 49ers lose, they would be still ahead of the Cowboys in that race because of the tiebreaker. And looking at this right here, because the 49ers lost to the Rams, that would mean, if I'm not mistaken, the Rams would have the tiebreaker over us because they beat the 49ers who beat us. And so even if the Rams get beat, then that means that the Rams would still be ahead of us. And so then, and these are the games that I think that are significant. And so I want to flip back and forth between this. But so we have the we have the Buccaneers playing the Carolina Panthers. This is a game that I'm going to have my eyes on. I'm going to have my eyes on this game because the Cowboys are playing both of these teams back to back. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's back to back. I think they got the Bengals, the Panthers, then the Bucs. So this game right here, y'all, is a huge issue for the Cowboys. And the Cowboys definitely need the Bucs to lose. They definitely need the Bucs to lose if they want to make the playoffs. Because if the Bucs lose to the Panthers and then the Cowboys can come back and beat the Panthers, then they can be above the Bucs, even though the Bucs, even though they would fall behind the Cowboys, you still have the 49ers and the Rams and possibly the Cardinals, which the Cardinals, they're going to get beat tomorrow. I mean, the Cardinals are going to get beat. They're going to be playing the Minnesota Vikings. At least I believe they're going to get beat, which is going to put them at 6-6. But because they'll have an extra win until the Cowboys play again on Monday night, they will also be still ahead of the Cowboys. So when you start looking at it, there are so many things, y'all. People keep talking about this magical ride that the Cowboys are going to have. I mean, the Cowboys are going to make. But tomorrow, also, another game to watch. I'll have to just catch this one on the highlights. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Huge game. One, we beat Pittsburgh. I know how we did it. I saw it. I mean, we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cincinnati Bengals. This is a divisional game. Will they win or lose? Because if they win, of course, that puts them at 5-7. And then I think that gives them even more of an incentive when they play the Cowboys. I think it'll give them more of an incentive to really come out and try to beat the Cowboys. Now, if the Pittsburgh Steelers beat them and they're 4-8, you never know what their attitude's going to be like. But I think if they wind up beating the Pittsburgh Steelers and they go to 5-7, they're going to be out for blood when they play the Cowboys. So I'm really interested in that game. The Tennessee game is another one we need to keep our eyes on, because if the Tennessee Titans, of course, if they beat the Washington Commanders, who hold that spot, it's just one less. I mean, it's one more game. They get closer to the Cowboys and the rest of the pack. They'll go to 7-6. I'm telling you, man, if the Commanders, if they don't win 10 games, you want to talk about an epic collapse? Wow. That's all I can tell you. That is crazy if they lose to the Tennessee Titans. Then, of course, I talked about Tampa Bay, Carolina. Another game. Now, the reason why I have the Philadelphia Eagle game in white, the Philadelphia Eagles are winning the NFC East this year. There's no discussion. I know people, we can catch the, no, we cannot catch the Eagles. I've already looked at the Eagles schedule, and there is no way, looking at the Eagles schedule, there is absolutely, and I don't want to say there's no way per se, but when you look at the Eagles' remaining schedule, there is no way the Eagles don't win at least 2 more games. That's all they have to win to pretty much clinch the NFC East, because that would put them at what, 11-6? That would put them at 11-6. And maybe there would be a small chance if they, that the Commanders could catch them. I seriously doubt it, especially with one of the games that they have to play is one of the games that they will be playing is against the Commanders. Because, man, I'm telling you this. Everybody keep talking about the Eagles aren't that good. Go on X. Michael Parsons' brother hates so bad on Jalen Hurts, it needs to be studied. I don't know what Jalen Hurts did to this man, but he absolutely hates Jalen Hurts. But I'm telling y'all, Jalen Hurts has been balling this year. He has. He's been quietly balling, and that's why they're 9-2. And Saquon Barkley has helped this team immensely. So this is going to be a great matchup tomorrow because we get to see the two teams who both went out and got the best two running backs, and they're going to be playing against each other. Running quarterbacks, best two running backs. They're both got some good things going on the outside. Both got pretty good defenses. So this is going to be a monster of a game tomorrow. And so if the Ravens beat the Eagles, I just don't think it affects anybody. I just don't think the Eagles are going to collapse because when you look at the remaining of their schedule, I just got a feeling they're going to beat the Panthers. They're going to beat the Panthers, even if the Eagles beat them. I think they're going to beat the Commanders, and I think they're going to beat, surely the last game down here is, y'all can't see it, my picture's in the way, but I'll put it right there. It's the Giants. If there's two games I think they're going to win, it will be these two, and it'll be down to the Cowboys. It'll be down to the Cowboys and the Commanders, and I just find it hard to believe that the Eagles are going to lose to both us and the Commanders. I think they'll win one of those games too. I think the Eagles, like it, love it, or hate it, I think the Eagles are going to wind up with 12 wins. I don't think there's anything anybody can do. I think the Eagles will wind up with a 12-win season this year, and they're going to be 12-5, and they're going to win the NFC East. And so I don't. That's why I got that game kind of in white. It doesn't mean anything. But the 49ers and the Bills, the Rams and the New Orleans Saints, those games are huge for the Cowboys. I say huge. I say huge. I can't even believe I'm talking like this. This is if they went out. People have to understand something. The Cowboys have to win out. There is no other option. They have to win out. Yep, the Houston Oilers beat the Houston Texans. They have to win out. The Bengals isn't really a good thing yet. Them Bengals, that's what I call them too, the Bengals. But I do think their offense is so explosive, I think the Cowboys are going to have some serious problems. Wicked said, is T. Higgins back for the game versus the Cowboys? So the Bengals may score 40 points versus the Cowboys. I think that's going to be their problem. I do. Butler going down has put them back to square one. Man, Butler's story makes you literally want to cry. It just makes you want to cry. This guy, man, he has fought his way to get that opportunity, and then he snapped a knee. Yeah, Butler was going to be a really a serious cog for them, I think, going down the line. But I also heard, y'all tell me what you think. I also saw on X, there's a guy named Emmanuel Forbes for the Washington Commanders, former first-round pick. They cut him, and everybody's saying the Cowboys need to go get him. It wouldn't hurt to kick the tires on him. Wicked said it's not X, it's the people hiding behind the screens, taking their crap on different subjects because they know they are safe behind the screens. They don't care. Talk reckless, and they wouldn't dare talk reckless in person. Man, I tell you what, because they be talking crazy on there. Wicked said, do you think Cooper Rush give the Cowboys a better chance to win over Trey Lance right now? Isn't this Lance's second season with the Cowboys? He probably knows the system by now. I want to see Trey Lance, but they're saying that he gives them a better chance to win. I'll be honest with you. I think this is reverse psychology. I think Trey Lance gives them the best chance to win. I just think, you just take him against the Giants. Trey Lance would have probably ran 2 touchdowns on the Giants easy. 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 Because at the end of the day, like I was explaining to somebody about Jalen Hurts. Say anything you want to say about Jalen Hurts, but he's an extension of the running game. And when you have a quarterback, this is why Dak was so dangerous in that first season with Zeke. When you have a quarterback that can run the ball and run it effectively, you remember what happened to the Cowboys and the Eagles? Michael Parsons was kind of right. Yeah, man, we pretty much held them down. Zimmer stopped Saquon Barkley. He didn't have an answer for Jalen Hurts. They just didn't have an answer for Jalen Hurts. A running quarterback, if you're going to run single high safety to stop that running back, and he does that read option, or he fakes it to, he play action, or he steps back to pass, he's a problem if he sends all the wide receivers down the field. He's a problem because somebody got to keep facing him. Because if you don't spy him out, he'll just run out of the backfield and it's a wrap. I would like to see Trey Lance. I do think if the Cowboys lose 2 more games, I think we're going to see Lance. What's going on, Janie? Hello, everyone. Just listening and learning tonight. No comments next time. I'm telling us, I'm thinking maybe 2 more losses. And I think you'll see Trey Lance because at that point, you're out of the playoffs. What's the point? You're out of the playoffs. What's the point? You might as well, at that point, you might as well let Trey Lance play. Let him audition for another team. Let him do that. Yeah, Jay Recruiter, I got a strange feeling the Niners are done, bro. I know exactly next year the 49ers are going crazy. Man, Wilson Santiago, you a 49ers fan? Troy Dudley, Dallas might have 1 win left. Man, let me tell you, Troy. Me and you, we about to get on the same page here now. We about to get on the same page. Wilson said the way it's playing out, don't be excited about the 7th. Don't be excited about the 7th seed. Yeah, I'm the same way. When it's all said and done, it's going to be overshown defense. Yep, he's young, man. But you know what? I say this. Because I know they're not going to trade Micah Parsons, there's no point in talking about that. But I think Micah Parsons mentioned it. It was the win against the Commanders, maybe. He said that Overshown makes him want to go back at linebacker and play beside him. Man, I'm telling you, they ever put them two in the same linebacker, it's over. It's over. Woo, wicked, boy. Steelers gonna beat them Eagles. Let me tell you something, man. I was checking that out, man. I was thinking about you, and I'm telling you, boy, it is gonna be a game for the ages. Because Pittsburgh, if you look at them defensively, it's like they may have what it takes to stop their running game. But at the same time, I just don't know, Wicked. You tell me what you think. I just don't know if I'm sold on how Russell has been. I'm not really sold on Wilson yet. This game, when they do play, we're going to see what it is. We're gonna see what it is. I'm interested to see what your Bengals, I'm interested to see what your Steelers do against the Bengals. I want to see if they can shut down that Bengals attack, because that's going to let me know what the Cowboys can do. That's what I want to see. Steelers will beat them, and Commanders for the upset alert. Yeah, I want to see what they can do. Barkley is the Eagles' offense. You know what? Somebody was saying he's the best player on the team. I have a hard time with that. But everything that we're seeing, he's proving it. He's definitely the MVP on the team. Roberta said, I like Jalen Hurts. I love my Cowboys. I do like Jalen Hurts. Nice young man. See, that's why I like Jalen Hurts. He's very respectful. And I don't mind if Dak's not going to win it. I don't mind seeing him win it. In my opinion, Lance will fit McCarthy's system better. Teams are able to get pressure on Dak and rush, landing the most mobile out of the quarterback that fit the playing style. Well, unfortunately, because they done paid Dak $231 million. Well, I ain't going to say unfortunately because I like Dak. But I think you're not going to see another running quarterback in Dallas until about 2020. I think they'll probably draft a quarterback in 2027. And they'll start grooming him to replace Dak Prescott depending upon what happens. I don't know. You never know. If Mike McCarthy had his way, you never know. Lance probably already would be the starter. Yeah, I like the way Jalen Hurts lead, man. He's a great leader. this run we're about to go on, they're gonna make a documentary. Man, let me tell you something. If they do go on this run, and let's look at this schedule before we move on to the next subject matter and before I get out of here. Let's go on. I want to look at this schedule because, man, I'm telling you, man, bro, I'm sorry. I've been looking at this schedule, man. I'm serious, man. I've been looking at this schedule. And I just don't know. I just don't know what folk looking at, man. Because when I look at this schedule, Troy Dudley says he sees one more win. Let's go to this schedule real quick. I'm going to tell you what I see too, Troy Dudley. So this is the Cowboys' remaining schedule. I'm going to tell you what I see right here. I am excited for this December the 9th game. Unless this defense just goes crazy and this special teams and defense do what they did against Washington, I just don't see how they can. I just don't see how they stop the Bengals. Parsons has the opportunity in this game more than likely to get about 3 or 4 sacks because you don't have to worry about the Bengals. Joe Shiesty gonna throw it. Joe Shiesty gonna throw it, y'all. And so when I look at this, I just can't see them beating the. I can see it. I got a strange feeling they're not gonna beat the Bengals. I got a strange feeling. And for me, it's all predicated upon, do the Bengals beat the Steelers? And I think their coach is probably coaching for his job. So if they beat the Steelers, I think they may come out with a lot more tenacity against the Cowboys. But if they don't beat the Steelers, well, maybe they won't have. I just think when teams are playing for playoffs, even though it probably shouldn't be this way, but when you're playing for something, man, it's just different. I'm telling y'all, you better put this game right here against the Panthers. You better put this on upset alert. You better put this Panthers game on upset alert. I'm telling you. This Panthers game is not going to be a gimme. They've been playing a little bit better as of late, and I think Bryce Young is trying to prove he's a quarterback in this league. I'm not sold on them beating the Panthers, even though I do think that's the game they're going to win for sure. I think they're going to beat the Panthers, but don't be surprised if it's going to be a hard-fought game. I'm struggling with the Buccaneers. I'm struggling with the Buccaneers too. I'm just struggling with the Buccaneers. The Eagles, I just don't think we have an answer for the Eagles right now. I just don't think we have an answer for them. I think, as much as I hate to admit it, I think the Eagles right now are out of our league. People hating on the Eagles, but they're only 9-2. They're only 9-2, and people acting like they're the Commanders. They're not the Commanders. No, they're not the Commanders. The Eagles are really good, and they're good because of Saquon Barkley, and they're loaded at the wide receiver spot. Their quarterback is good. I mean, he's a true dual threat quarterback. The dude bench presses 600 pounds. I mean, they're hard to stop. I mean, the Eagles are. They don't do it necessarily as flashy. Maybe Saquon has some flashy runs, but the Eagles are what they are, man. I don't think we're going to beat them. And then with the Commanders, I just think Dan Quinn will be a lot more prepared on the next time. We'll see what it looks like. Not to mention, it may be a playoff game for the Commanders. And if the Cowboys went out, you never know. It could be. Let me stop saying this stuff. But I will say if we want to say if, it could be playoff ramifications for both teams if the Cowboys went out in some strange universe. I just find it hard to believe they're going to be able to beat the Commanders again. It's a rivalry game. I think Dan Quinn is going to be ready this time. It's going to be, it's going to be tough. So for me, I don't even understand how to win out. There's just no way this team. It's no way this team is winning out. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. I just can't see it. I can't see it. Kyle McCord upsets Miami. Okay. At best, Dallas has 2 wins in them. Yeah, that's what I was see. I'm thinking the Panthers. And you can maybe, I'm struggling with the Commanders a second time. I just think Dan Quinn's going to be way more ready. Man, I'm struggling. I just don't. Santiago, I mean, you tell me, what's the second win, man? What's the second win? I don't know the second win. Wild boy Trey, hey, you wild for sure saying you wild for sure saying they gonna win out. Wilson, Santiago, I have a strange feeling the Commanders are gonna beat the Cowboys. I do too, because it's a division game. Ice Wild Cowboy says, I've never seen such disrespect people in my life. It makes me understand, my friends, that hate the Cowboys because of those toxic fans. Yeah, we got a very, at time, Ice Wild, man, we got a very toxic fan base, and resort to name calling and stuff like that. And I just don't operate like that. I don't want to do all the name calling. I mean, I think we can be, we can make our points, and, this is sports we're talking about. And this is one of the only places that I can say stuff like this in. I don't say stuff like this in life, but in sports, we can agree to disagree. I mean, we can agree to disagree on this stuff. I mean, we can agree to disagree and still be friends in the community and not be sitting up cursing each other out and stuff. I'm like, man, there's some of the stuff that people will say is crazy. Wilson says, if the Cowboys do win out, what do you think is going to happen in the playoffs? Man, I'm telling you, this playoff picture to me, I don't know what anyone else is thinking. Man, this playoffs is loaded. I mean, look at the top teams. 11-1, 9-2. We'll see what it turns out in the end. But when you go to the wild card spot, the NFC North is a problem. They're 9-2. The Packers are 9-3. Man, I'm telling you, it's going to be tough. It's going to be absolutely tough. It's going to be tough. I see right now, so the Eagles, the Lions will get the bye week, and we don't know if they're going to get that by the end. Somebody got to tell me something, because it looked like Chicago threw that game. I mean, they fired the coach. Caleb Williams is talking about he wanted to do something to stop. It's all crazy to me. It almost seemed like to me somebody said, no, the Detroit Lions are supposed to win. They can give me any excuse they want to, but they literally should have won that game. They should have won that game, but whatever the case may be. I mean, it was a division game. But doggone it, man. I was just kind of like, y'all let the Bears, I think too, because I think this is even happening to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think what begins to happen to teams is I always get wary when a team who has a really good record, they're number one, number two, and they keep winning games in weird ways. Because you'll get to a point that when you get to the playoffs, you don't get to win those games in weird ways no more. And so you got two teams with one loss. And to me, that, that plays different in your head. That plays different in your head to me. And you think, okay, we only got one loss. We gotta stay ahead. I mean, there's so many things going through your mind. And then you get a team like the Bills, they're 9-2. They're just kind of like, their mindset is, no, we got to get the number one. The Steelers, we got to get the number one. Chiefs, man, three-peat, all these things. I remember that year when the Golden State Warriors had the best record ever. And I can remember when the New England Patriots, they're 19, what were they, 19-0 or something like that? And then get to the Super Bowl and they lose to a lesser team, or what people viewed as a lesser team. So I think the Chiefs and I think the Lions, and I bring this up because I think the Lions, man, we may see them down the stretch. I really want to see what they look like the last 5 games. I really do, because it's going to be tough. This is uncharted territory for them. Can they hold on? But when you look, it's pretty much playing out. I can see the Eagles advancing, but it's not going to shock me. It's not going to shock me if it's one of these two teams. I won't be surprised if the Vikings and the Packers knock them smooth out. I won't even be surprised. I will not be surprised, because the 2, they'll get the 7, so I don't think it'll be a problem for the Eagles. But the 3 and the 4, they're going to get the 5 and the 6. I won't be surprised if that happens. I won't be surprised if the Vikings and the Packers knock them right out. This thing is top heavy. So if you get 7, you ain't getting no magical. You ain't getting no magical carpet ride through this joint. I don't care what you say. I don't care what nobody say. You ain't even getting no magical carpet ride. Because not only do the Cowboys would have to win 6 in a row, they would literally have to win 3 more to get to the Super Bowl. Man, that's tough trading. And I'm torn. I get so torn on this thing with the Cowboys and this playoff stuff, because, if you don't make it, people say, oh, well, you still want to be tough. And then I'm like, but man, you gave up so much in the draft. But we'll see. Barkley will run the Cowboys. By the Dallas. Man, that boy Saquon is crazy right now. Cowboys went out script. You a wild boy for saying that wild boy trade, because I'm telling you, I can't see it, man. Kid Cowboy said Cooper is able. I don't believe it. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you're a better leader than anybody. I just don't think it's going to happen. Bengals and Panthers are the only 2 wins. That's kind of what I see. I don't even think the Bengals, man. I just think the Bengals going to give them all they can handle. Now, when Cooper Rush throw 3 TDs against Cincy, what y'all going to say? Well, actually, I wouldn't say anything, because this is what's been betraying the Cincinnati Bengals. Their defense is weak. It's been betraying them all season. Their offense is explosive. Their defense gives up a lot of points. We're going to talk about that next week. I've already been digging into the numbers on them. But they give up a lot of points. Gary says, are we going there? I'm not going there, Gary, but you know what? Michael Paulson said we coming, and people keep buying into it. I'm going to show you some things that's absolutely crazy. It would be funny if we play the Packers again. Yeah, it would be funny, because I don't think it's going to happen. The Bills just need a running back. You know what? I'm shocked the Bills didn't get a running back. I understand that Josh Allen is a running back in himself. You went and got Amari Cooper. Why not get a running back too? Cooper Rush will he be? Man, no. I just don't see it. Even Nick Foles didn't have to do this. And Nick Foles, people got to understand something. Man, Nick Foles had a super team around him, man. They had built that team for Carson Wentz. And, Wentz wound up getting hurt. And they had a super team around Nick Foles. And so I just don't think it's going to happen. But I was looking at this thing on, let me go to this here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out on this. I always have so much material, and then I can't even get to it because we get to talking about some of these things. But I want to talk about this right here. So I can remember about 2 or 3 games ago, everybody was saying the only way you stop Jerry Jones. What's going on, Freddie? What's going on with you? Good to see you. So a few weeks ago, we were talking all this. The noise was so loud about Jerry Jones, how he's the problem for the team. He messes, the team is bad. Mike McCarthy's play calling is terrible. Mike McCarthy needs to go. Everybody was done with the Cowboys. And now it has been proven that winning cures all. My wife went to the Houston Texans game. A lot of people were saying that the stadium was kind of empty. We beat the Washington Commanders. And the same people who seemed to say they were done with the Cowboys, people who were saying, flex the Cowboys off of the Thanksgiving game, flex the Cowboys off, people don't want to see the Cowboys and blah, blah, blah. They win one game. And look at what happened. This is with two backup quarterbacks. The Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving victory on Fox earned 38.5 million viewers and projects to rank as the most watched NFL telecast this regular season on any network. You don't think the NFL needs the Dallas Cowboys? The game peaked at 41.3 million viewers from 6 to 6:15. Now, I'm saying this not about the popularity of the Cowboys. That's not what it is. So somebody said it's not because we want to watch the Cowboys and Giants. Could it be they was the only game on during the peak viewing? Nah, that's not it. Definitely America's team. I took a nap while it was on. Blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to tell you my problem. So does this change what Jerry Jones has done for almost 30 years? Does this change it? Does this change the fact that Jerry Jones won't do anything in free agency? Does this change the fact that Jerry Jones won't make no trades? Does this change the fact that Jerry Jones won't empower the coach, stays in his business? Does this change all the players he let go of from last year? Does this change what we were saying about Mike McCarthy, poor play calling, all these different things, how bad this team was? So you're telling me that 2 games is all it took, and really 1 game. But since we won that game, so you're telling me that all Jerry Jones needed to do was win 2 games, and now everything is all right. The cry went from fire Jerry Jones. Now the cry is we can win out. We might go to the playoffs. Now this defense is getting on track. This defense is humming. Cooper Rush. So you're telling me 2 wins changed everybody's mind like this? Now we got Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, y'all might not have realized what Jimmy Johnson did. Jimmy Johnson says he wouldn't have paid Dak Prescott, which I've already shown. He wasn't saying that in September. He was talking about Dak's the man. Dak's not the problem. But now comes back and said he wouldn't have paid him, blah, blah, blah. But then the part that really got me is now all of a sudden, Mike McCarthy not the problem? So we telling me a fan base that was screaming that Mike McCarthy needs to be gone, I'm seeing people now who I know were saying he needs to be gone, and now they're saying, let Mike McCarthy stay. I like Mike McCarthy. I'm telling y'all, narratives are dangerous. Propaganda is dangerous. The Bible says that faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word of God in Romans 10:17. But I always teach people, you got to understand it's a compound sentence. Faith comes by hearing. And it just makes me wonder that when people hear the same thing over and over and over, y'all need to understand something. If you don't understand by what I just showed you, if you don't understand by this number right here, if you don't understand, the NFL needs the Dallas Cowboys. Shady McCoy said it. The league is not the same without the Dallas Cowboys winning and Dak Prescott playing, because we want to talk about of whether or not Dak can do it. So now they're manufacturing a new story. They're manufacturing a new story. The Dallas Cowboys are going to the playoffs. The playoffs. That's what the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, wait. They have a chance to go to the playoffs because they want to create this narrative. They want to create this story so you can latch on to it. But I learned something else from the Bible too. They build you up to tear you down. They build you up to tear you down. I'm just watching Michael Parsons, man. He's relishing. He's relishing in all of this. Oh, we coming. The problem, another issue I have with Micah is that he loves the media. That's why he's defending his podcast. He loves the media. He loves the attention. He loves all the talking. He loves it. He loves it. He loves it. But you keep writing checks, and somebody gonna have to cash them. And you said we coming. So what happens if you lose to the Bengals? What happens if you lose to the Panthers? What happens if you lose to the Bucks? Are you still coming? Because these same folk who lifting you up, these same folk, it's amazing. These folk who were complaining about Jerry Jones, complaining about Mike McCarthy, complaining about this team. They're doing all this complaining, and 2 wins is all it took. Why? I know why I took it for the networks. They need the Dallas Cowboys. No one cares. I said this before the game. Do y'all know the NFL ratings are down? The NFL ratings are down. And I keep wondering, what is the significant thing that happened in the NFL this year? Could it be Dak Prescott getting hurt? And if you don't realize it, so many people during the 2023 season, the 2022 season, those seasons, you can even go further back, 2022, 2023. Guess who is the headline? Every Monday you wake up, every Tuesday you wake up, if it's a Monday night game, every Friday you wake up, if it's a Friday night game, it's what Dak Prescott either didn't do or what Dak Prescott did. I was laughing. They even had a story talking about Dak Prescott and his water drinking habits. Dak Prescott is the Al Pacino of this league. He's the Scarface of this league. This league needs a bad guy. It's Dak Prescott. I don't know if y'all realize this. This league needs a bad guy. And they've chosen Dak Prescott. While the Cowboys are America's team, Dak Prescott is the face of that team. But he's also the bad guy of that team. He's the bad guy of the league. He's the only quarterback that anyone will allow you to talk about the way they talk about Dak Prescott. It needs to be studied. And I'm just laughing. It's insane to me that 2 wins, one against a terrible Giants team, and everything we said about the Cowboys, have we forgotten how we got throttled by the Saints, how we got throttled in the first 3 quarters by the Baltimore Ravens, how we got embarrassed by the Detroit Lions, how we gave away a game against San Francisco, how we gave a game away against the Falcons, how we got beat by the Houston Texans. Have we forgot all of this? That Mike McCarthy refused to run the ball, and then he gets to the last 2 games. And now we're saying keep Mike McCarthy. He's not a bad coach. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. Troy Aikman has changed his tune on him. It's amazing how this coach and his quarterback, who's both tied to the Dallas Cowboys, it's strange to me how Troy Aikman is saying during the broadcast that Mike McCarthy is a great coach. Wasn't saying that before the Washington broadcast. Then Jimmy comes out, starts talking bad about Dak Prescott and starts talking about it. Why change coaches? Mike McCarthy's not the problem. And then even before that, Jerry Jones is asked, is it crazy to say that you could re-sign Mike McCarthy? And Jerry Jones says it's not out of the question. All this because of a win? That's the problem with this franchise. That's the problem. I don't know of any other franchise that literally every time we win, what team in their right mind would be talking about playoffs? Playoffs? I'm with you, Troy Dudley. Playoffs? Who jumps to that conclusion? You want to know why people hate us? You want to know why people hate us? It's like we get delusional, and we don't realize we are a reflection of this team. And I say we because I'm a fan. I'm not like this, but we are a reflection of this team. We're just like them. We're entitled. We're the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, do you know we had Roger Staubach, we had Tom Landry, we won in the 70s. We went 14 years, and then we won with Jimmy Johnson and Troy Aikman and the super team, and we're the Dallas Cowboys, and now we should still be winning like we won with Jimmy when we won with Troy. And then when I put it in context over the last couple of days and talked about a non-salary cap era, Hall of Famers all around Troy Aikman, Herschel Walker trade, we did something that is improbable and will never be repeated. They got 53 picks off of this, 53 players off of the Herschel Walker trade, a non-salary cap era. We had Deion Sanders, Charles Haley. And we think we're so entitled, like we're supposed to be winning Super Bowls. When the reality is, our owner showed us who he is. He wanted to win at all costs, to get this team back on the map, work out TV deals for the NFL, got the NFL way more popular, and then resorted to destroying the team from 94 to 2024. And yeah, they won a Super Bowl in 1995 with Barry Switzer basically standing on the sideline, chewing gum. The team was so good that Jimmy had put together. The coaching staff was so good that Jimmy had put together. It was on autopilot. They slipped in 94, got Deion Sanders in 95, came back, won with Deion Sanders, and has been downhill ever since 94. And here we are again. Everybody was saying, this is the year we got to stand up against Jerry Jones. We got to let him know. We got to hit him in the pocket. We got to make sure that Jerry Jones hears us speak. I mean, I saw stuff like fire Jerry Jones. We're going to be at the game with signs and we're going to scream loud. We're going to say fire Jerry Jones and we're going to make our point to Jerry Jones because the only way we make our point, we got to hit him in the pocket. We got to make him hear our voice. And they win one game. Where are the torches and pitchforks, y'all? Because everybody said we were going to kill Frankenstein. Where are the pitchforks? Where are the torches? Where are the signs? Where's all the complaints? Where's everybody saying that Jerry Jones destroyed this team? Where are all those people at right now? Just wonder. Just wonder if some of them were the 41 million at the peak between 6 and 615. I wonder if some of those people were the 38.5 million people. Not to mention, I mean, the stadium looked pretty packed to me. Didn't look like the Houston Texans game for sure. We go beat the Commanders, everybody packed back into the stadium on Thanksgiving. I'm going to let you know. This is why Jerry Jones is going to continue his foolishness. Because Jerry Jones knows his fans. He knows the haters. And Jerry Jones just ropes people right back in the moment they say they're out. That's the problem with this football team. That's why this fan base is, and not all of it, but there's about 15 to 25% of it is totally toxic. We love our players, and we go absolutely nuts over our team. I just don't know anybody else that does this stuff. Mike Fisher writes a story on the Athlon. This is why I got so many problems with Jimmy Johnson. I don't care who likes it. I don't care who hates it. You can tell me anything you want to about Jimmy Johnson. Something's going on with this man and his thought processes. He's saying a lot of crazy stuff. He's double talking in a sense in this article. Written by Richie Witt. If you're not on the Athlon, go get on athlonsports.com. It's pretty. They have a lot of great articles every single day. Says former coach Jimmy Johnson is among those experts predicting the Dallas Cowboys winning enough games to at least be a playoff contender down the stretch of the NFL season. And people think I'm crazy about doing the video I released just yesterday about Jimmy Johnson as a hypocrite. I know what Jimmy did when he came here in 89. Got us 2 Super Bowl titles. Please, Michael Jordan was the best player in the world, but he hasn't been the best owner in the world. He hasn't been able to get the Charlotte Hornets to win. So let's just stop thinking just because it's Jimmy Johnson and he gets on TV and talk that everything he says is gospel. Everything Jimmy says is not gospel. Jimmy is a member of the Illuminati of the 3 and 4 letter networks. He's a member of the 3 and 4 letter networks. Jimmy is saying things now to get the clicks, to get the likes. I was laughing when Colin Cowherd was talking, personnel, he got 2 Super Bowls. He's just a basking in all of the glory that he was getting showered with, and then commenced to fall right in line with the narrative. Here he is again. Foolishness. Dallas Cowboy fans suddenly find themselves struggling with an age-old decision, in or out. But this isn't mom yelling at some child to close the door. It's the Cowboys waffling between a team so bad that it's just throwing the towel and purposely lose to improve next year's draft pick, and a team just good enough to sneak into the playoff picture. Dak Prescott is gone, but the easiest part of the schedule is here. 2 wins in 5 days over the Commanders and the Giants have tweaked the temperature. A 5-game losing streak is suddenly a 2-game winning streak. A 3-7 nightmare is now a 5-7 sliver of optimism. Oh, the word salad. On Thanksgiving's Fox pregame show, both analysts Terry Bradshaw and Jimmy Johnson, they predicted the Cowboys could creep into the contention for an unlikely NFC wildcard berth as the calendar turns to December. These 2 men are crazy. Terry Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls. Yes, he was a great quarterback. Some say good. He was great. Jimmy Johnson, national title college, 2 Super Bowls in the pros. Delusional. They know what they're doing. Terry Bradshaw literally said, and when Dak is healthy, the Cowboys ought to keep Cooper Rush as the quarterback. What? Man, I'm talking on principle. I got 231 million reasons that Dak Prescott will be the starting quarterback on this team unless he on a gurney for the next 3 years. Terry Bradshaw's stupid for saying this stuff. And this is what they do. They want you to listen to them. Do you know this is why they choose famous athletes to do this stuff? So even when they say stupid stuff, their disciples will listen. Ooh, Terry Bradshaw said, ooh, Jimmy Johnson said, because if Jimmy said it, ooh, we got a chance. Stop it. Just because Jimmy say it doesn't make it more of a chance. Someone says to me, ooh, you nobody, who you is? I'm somebody with common sense. Who not blinded by 2 wins? Both of them, I mean, really, the Washington, come on, man. How many times are you going to get that many things to happen for you to win that game down the stretch? That game was like watching paint dry for the first 3 quarters and more than half of the fourth. I'm sorry, we beat a decimated Giants team. The Bucks stomped them. They stomped them. We had Drew Lock playing for the first time this season. The first time this season. And Drew Lock made it a game. This is just crazy. Let's watch how they do this. I mean, they dancing like Fred Astaire. But they're doing this because they're Terry Bradshaw and Jimmy Johnson, and they know it's going to carry some weight. Ooh, they could. What's the odds? Because I think Vegas knows a little bit more than y'all do. They got people working on this stuff. They're not like y'all just up here now, just on credibility, just on the fact y'all Jimmy Johnson and Terry Bradshaw, y'all can say any doggone thing. Lord forbid these men stepped in a pulpit, start preaching. They'd send men to hell. They tell them anything. Oh, it's Jimmy Johnson. If Jimmy said it, we can do it. Stupid. We got to learn how to, what is our eyes telling us? What are we seeing? Who are they playing? Can we keep it in context? What have they been doing up to this point? I mean, we got to keep these things in context. Look at this. Jimmy, he dancing like Michael Jackson up in here, watching moonwalk. I'm just saying, they're going to get on a run, Johnson said. What? Ooh, they're going to win today against the Giants. Okay. Who didn't know they were going to win? Who didn't know they were going to beat the Giants? Who didn't know it? Who didn't know the Cowboys was going to beat the Giants? So y'all telling me that because Jimmy has won a national title, he's won 2 Super Bowls, it was that knowledge? It was that knowledge that made that prediction. Stupid. They're going to win today against the Giants. They're going to win next week. They're going to win the week after that. They're going to beat they're going to beat the Bengals. You just noticed. They're going to get on a run, and they're going to have a little bit of false hope. You see him moonwalking? You see him moonwalking? He's moonwalking right to the Philadelphia Eagles because that's where the buck going to stop. So Jimmy is this confident. We're going to run through the Bengals. We're going to run through the Panthers. And we're going to run through the Bucks. Y'all keep thinking this schedule is easy. Those teams are in the playoff hunt too. And I would dare say, I know this is going to hurt some folks' feelings. I think a couple of those teams are better coached than we are. I think we're starting to give Mike McCarthy a little too much credit for doing something that he wouldn't do when Dak Prescott was the quarterback. But now all of a sudden he's running the ball, and now we're going to give him credit. Y'all keep giving him credit. I remember the fake punt in the third quarter on your own, at the beginning of the third quarter on your own 30-yard line when your quarterback was in there against the Atlanta Falcons. Y'all can forget it, but I refuse to. I refuse to know who we're talking about here. The same man who came back and ran another fake punt, and it was unsuccessful. I remember who we're talking about. The same man with poor clock management. I know who we're talking about. The same man that Troy Aikman. Oh, listen to Troy Aikman. He said that Mike McCarthy is a good play caller. I mean, he's a great coach. He's the same man. He said he was a terrible play caller. Which one is it, Troy? Oh, it's the narrative. It's the narrative that the Cowboys may be keeping Mike McCarthy. So let's stay with the narrative because we're Cowboys. So let's not say anything against what Jerry's going to do. Y'all better start looking at game, man. Game, recognized game. This stupid stuff. They're going to have a little bit of false hope. No, Jimmy. No, Jimmy. You're giving it to him. You're giving it to the fan base with your dazzling dancing because so many people like you, Jimmy. You're giving it to him. I'm just saying. What are you saying, Jimmy? Wait a minute. It's going to give them false hope. No, Jimmy. No, Jimmy. I'm going to call you out. No, Jimmy. You're giving them the hope. I'm just saying they're going to get on a run. They're going to beat the Giants. They're going to beat the Bengals. And they're going to beat the Panthers. Who giving us false hope? Who is it? You, Jimmy. Because you're saying they're going to win. Boy, I'm telling you, if the Bengals beat the Cowboys, y'all don't want to see I'm telling you, you ain't going to want to see, for all you people who love Jimmy Johnson, you ain't going to want to see the video I'm going to do next. We got to stop putting these past people from these people who played on teams. We got to stop putting them on pedestals. Don't let them dazzle you because you like them. Hey, I like what you did back in the 90s, Jimmy, but this is today. I want to hear what you're saying today versus what I'm seeing. What are you saying versus what I'm seeing, what I'm knowing is happening? It might be. Look at this. This man is dancing. It might be a little too late. Ooh, you're hedging your bets, huh? It might be. But when you say might, so you're saying there's a chance. It might be a little too late, a false hope, as Johnson says. But the Cowboys, they need a couple of more wins and some help from other teams to make things interesting. Jerry said they need a couple of more things. Okay. I'm going to show you what this writer does, and I absolutely loves it. Because Jerry said they need a couple of more things. The next 3 games are against the teams with losing records. Bengals, Panthers, Buccaneers. They will likely be favored in all 3 with a realistic shot to get to 8-7. The full returns of Zach Martin, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, and Brandon Cooks also help boost those spirits. As of now, the Cowboys are contending for the 3rd and final wild card spot with San Francisco, Los Angeles, the Buccaneers, Arizona Cardinals, and the Commanders. The Cowboys could get some help. Watch this. He said a couple of things. I don't call this a couple because a couple is two. The Vikings need to beat the Cardinals. The Titans need to beat the Commanders. The Saints need to beat the Rams. The Panthers need to beat the Bucks. And the Bills need to beat the 49ers. I don't call that a couple of things. Oh, wait, can I translate that? I studied Greek, but I don't think you need Greek to translate this. Are you saying we need a miracle? You're saying we need a miracle. That's what you're saying. This is why people hate the Cowboys. It's this kind of talk. This is why people hate the Cowboys. People hate the Cowboys the way Cowboys hate on their own quarterback. Because we're saying that the Cowboys believe so much in Cooper Rush, they gave Dak Prescott $231 million. Brought in Trey Lance to start over Dak Prescott so he could go walking. But they didn't use the man that everyone keeps saying that they have so much confidence in. They didn't use him as the bargaining chip. And now they're saying this same man is about to go on a magic carpet ride and he about to contend for the playoffs. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm definitely not going to explain it like this. I'm sorry. I got to get to at least. I got to at least get what? They got to win at least 4 games for me to even consider this to be a possibility. But watch this. I'm laughing. We just gonna run past the Bengals, huh? Okay. Y'all keep telling y'all watch what we're gonna be talking about after that Monday night. We just gonna run past the Bengals, huh? Because we are entitled to go on this run. This is why people hate the Dallas Cowboys. And this is why they get up so, I'm telling you, teams get up to play us. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you don't think that these teams, when they play the Cowboys, the next 5 games, if you don't think they're going to be fired up, I know I would be. Oh, so they about to go on a playoff run. So you saying they're going to beat us to get to the playoffs. Oh, okay. I'm gonna drop everything but I'm going to drop everything including the kitchen sink. Everything. Was Zeke released? No BS. This is a serious question. I'm not sure. I was thinking, though, they should have released Zeke with this guy who has come open. Who is this guy? Again, Emmanuel Forbes. I mean, if you want to make room for him, you better drop Zeke. I mean, that's the only way you're going to do it. Man, you said, Brad, man, please, don't even put Cooper Rush in the same sentence with Brad Johnson. Freddie said, man, what is Mike or any other boys player supposed to say? We blow. Now, see, I don't have a problem with that part. The part I have a problem with is their proclamation to the world. Stop writing checks, man. Do what these pros, these guys who have won championships do. They will tell you 1 game at a time. Michael Jordan never came out and told folks, yeah, we about to run all the way. We're going to run through this thing undefeated. Nope, that's not how he thought. No, Michael Jordan, hey, man, one game at a time. 1 game at a time. Who on me? I'm going to do them up. I'm going to do my part. We're going to do this, whatever. I'm going to do my part. But they had way more reason to be saying this. Where's the humility and the grind? Hey, man, you guys going on the road. Hey, you know what? We ain't even worried about no run right now. We're not worried about the playoffs right now. We're worried about getting better and winning the next game. That's all we're worried about. Getting healthy, getting better, winning the next game. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't want to talk about Super Bowls. 1 game at a time. That's what Coughlin did with that Giants team that made that run. It was 1 game at a time. That's all they focused on. Only the Cowboys start talking about, here we come. Panthers gave the Chiefs all they wanted. Yep. Panthers is coming up. Wilson said Mark Holmes was the first one to say Cowboys are back and we can pull it. I was shocked to hear that. I mean, but hey, it is what it is. He's entitled to his opinion. His opinion, we can pull it off. You know what? Sometimes you just got to understand what it is. Good show tonight. I learned some things. Time to tackle 7 pills. Yeah, I'm about to get off here too. Wilson, no self-respecting player worth a dang would ever say, yeah, my team sucks into a microphone. Yeah, and Dak didn't say it into a microphone. He just caught him saying it. Did you see the view numbers on the game? Yeah, that's what we just brought up. Yep, 38.5 million. And that's why I just gave that whole soliloquy on the fact that Jerry Jones, Antoine Bass, I'm telling you, reeled him back in. One game after losing 5 in a row. Reeled him back in. One game with the Commanders, and then a game that we should have absolutely stomped the team on and still came down to the last moment. Jay Recruiter said Big Mike is staying. He has endorsements from Aikman, Brady, and Jimmy. The narrative. Yep. The narrative. And that's why I said, Jay Recruiter, you can tell me anything you want to. That's why Jerry going to keep doing stupid stuff. He going to keep doing stupid stuff. So no more complaints for people talking about Jerry. I don't think we're going anywhere. Man, I'm telling you, G-Wee fans are fickle. What do you exactly, Freddie? I mean, I'm sorry, man. I just got to be realistic. I still don't think Cooper Rush is that good, but he does have a nice release of the ball when he has time. Yep. Dak said we effing suck. Michael said we are good enough to win and won. Who's the better leader? Dak Prescott. I wouldn't want Michael Parsons leading my team. Nope. Wouldn't want him leading the team. He's nothing but a bunch of rah-rah. He's a great player, but he runs his mouth too much. And Mike McCarthy told him as much. Stop saying things that other men have to answer for. So what do you say after you lose? So you're a better leader because you said we can win and you don't? I mean, surely, come on, man. Dak Prescott would have destroyed that Commanders team. And if they didn't beat the Giants, come on. They might as well give up the rest of the season. Cooper can throw a pretty slant ball. Dallas needs to take advantage. I think what they need to take advantage of again is running the ball. If the media ain't talking about Dallas, they are done. Exactly. Roger, appreciate that 99-cent sticker. Yep. Troy Dudley, playoffs. That's all I can say, man. That's all I can say. Compare the two games between the Bucs and the Giants versus the Cowboys versus the Giants. The Bucs blew the Giants out. The Cowboys barely beat them. I've been saying it. The 70s fan, I've been saying it. The Bucs missing weapons on offense stomped the Giants. They stomped them. We barely beat them. I mean, they were literally in the game until the end. I just don't understand it. The talk shows on TV need the Cowboys, and when they lose, it's even better for them. It makes me wonder sometimes. Kevin, I'm telling you, what they're doing, they're building the Cowboys up. And the first blowout they get, they're going to tear them down. Oh, they thought they were this, and Michael Parsons was saying they're going to go right back to destroying Michael Parsons. They're going to tear them limb from limb the first time they lose. Just watch. If you don't think the NFL is supposed to be need the Cowboys, let them win a Super Bowl and see what happens. I'm telling you, Shady McCoy said it. Dallas Cowboys quarterback has always been that guy, face of the NFL. Yep, you're exactly right. Always been the face of the NFL. Dak Prescott I put under a microscope and other quarterbacks that look through a telescope. You see what they're doing to Cooper Rush, don't you? Terry Bradshaw should be ashamed of himself. This man has the unmitigated gall to say Cooper Rush. It's amazing that he needs to be the quarterback even next year. But Jerry didn't even tell Dak Prescott, we got Cooper Rush. We're going to get from under your contract, walk on out the door. Terry don't make sense. Dak knows the game, but the game does not know Dak. Yeah. That's why Jimmy retired from Miami, because the owner back then refused to allow him to try to do another Walker trade. Yep. Wasn't going to let him do that to Marino. Fun fact, Jerry Jones was at the forefront for the salary cap. Yep, I said it, Wilson. I said it weeks ago. He was the architect. Jerry knew he was negotiating behind the scenes. All these TV deals we're looking at right now. And Jerry knew that at the rate we're going to be giving the players all the money. So you know what Jerry said? Hey, man, let's do a salary cap. And right now, y'all know what Jerry is doing behind the scenes? Jerry is working behind the scenes for a quarterback salary cap. He's working behind the scenes for a quarterback salary cap. The 95 Super Bowl wasn't that easy. Neil O'Donnell, I think, boy, man, this dude, what was that dude name he threw the picks to? I mean, this dude was not even looked at as a good cornerback. I mean, he threw it right to him and made him the MVP of the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, Neil O'Donnell, he threw the Super Bowl to him. Man, I'll tell you something, 70 Spin. I don't think Jimmy's capable of his own show. You ever watch Jimmy? I don't think he's capable. Jerry Jones has bent the knee to the almighty dollar long time ago. Long time ago. Roberta, they're just using the wacky tacky. The so-called fan base ever since Jerry Jones got rid of Tom Landry. I'm not like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones will never Jerry will never Russ Wilson Dak. Nah, I don't think so either. No way. Let's talk Cowboys. What's up? South Texas Michael wants to be the highest defensive. Yep. He wants that defensive end money. Don't want to argue with you, G, but I've seen some strange things happen in the NFL. Hey, you know what? I have too. And hey, I would be surprised if they made it, but I've seen this happen over some years. Man, Todd Dudley, boy, they turned Larry Brown. Not only did they turn Larry Brown into a household name, Larry Brown parlayed that, if I'm not mistaken, into a huge contract with the Oakland Raiders. And he never was no good after that. Yes, we can beat every team left on the schedule. Okay, I'm gonna let you tell it, Marlon Brando. I mean, you can go 17-0 too. Don't mean it gonna happen. Amazing what one win does. I'm blown away. Overshown should have won that Man Turkey trophy. I said it, man. I said it early in the show. Yep, but they gave it to Michael. Sad. No, don't do Jimmy like that. Do you remember when Campo was head coach and how the boys got into the playoffs in his last year as a head coach? Well, you know what? It could happen, but I don't know. I just don't think it's going to happen. But anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. Y'all have a good beginning of the week tomorrow. I'll see y'all sometime tomorrow night, man. I'm so excited about the game. I'm definitely gonna have my eyes on that Pittsburgh game. I definitely want to see how that turns out. But we'll be talking about the games and see if the Cowboys got any kind of, if they gained any kind of ground from what they said needs to happen for the Cowboys to go to the playoffs, Freddie. So, Freddie, it begins tomorrow. The magic carpet ride has to begin tomorrow, Freddie. Because if it don't begin tomorrow, it's not going to begin. So, appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate all the comments. Appreciate all the respect. George said, I like to dream. Yeah, I do too, man. I do too, but I just can't do it. Yeah. So we're going to see what happens tomorrow. But if it's going to happen, it's going to start tomorrow, and it don't start any later than that. So that's going to be it for me. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's talk Cowboys, but we talk facts.